That's right. The challenge. I almost said Survivor is back because I've been doing so much Survivor content over the last couple of weeks. The challenge insiders are back finally after a bit of a hiatus after the season when we spoke about the All Stars, and we've got Drew with us here as a permanent fixture for this season as well. Very excited to have you, Drew, on the show as well. Drew, how are you? How have you been? What's going on your channel at the moment? I believe you've done quite a bit of challenge content in the preseason.
Yes, I have. I first want to say hello and thank you for welcoming me to being a part of the show. I'm very excited to be here. I'm excited to be a part of this crew going forward throughout the season. And yeah, I'm just tired. I'm tired of like going through and just like losing sleep on doing breakdowns. And I love doing them, but I wear myself out because even with a 3-minute trailer, I just talk for like over an hour in my room to a camera, breaking down everything. And then when I'm editing it down, I'm having to pick what's the most important and what's the least important. And it still comes out to 30 minutes for a 3-minute trailer. So yeah, I'm just tiring myself out, trying to get some real rest and relaxation before the season starts.
You're on the right format right now. Podcast, you can go on for an hour, 2 hours. That content won't be lost on everybody that loves to follow you on your channel. Chantal, it's been such a long time since me and you have had the opportunity to talk. I think the last podcast we were on was for a Survivor Worldwide, coverage of Survivor South Africa.
Yes.
The first episode. Yes.
I guess that was a little bit over 2 months ago.
Yes. How have you been?
I've been tired as well here, Drew. It's the summer. So the summer means Big Brother content is happening, and that's 3 times a week. And then I'm a sucker for Love Island, and it comes on daily. And I also do a daily recap of Love Island UK. So I've actually been like really, really busy. And I also decided to be a certified hypnotist as well at the same time. So I'm doing a lot of things at the exact same time. But I'm happy to be here about the challenge. I was pretty like upset when they didn't want to bring more OGs and they brought all these new people. And I'm just like, I wish that they would just kind of stick to what they're doing well. But I'm starting to like these new people. I'm starting to be like, okay, do you know what? I don't mind you, as I got to know them a little bit better. And I'm familiar with some people coming from like Survivor or some like, what's the other show? Too Hot to Handle. There's just different shows that I've seen some of these people on. So they're not complete strangers. And I'm actually excited to see how this season goes down. I'm not as like eye roll about it as I thought I was going to
be. There's a lot of Love Island contestants, I feel like, on this one as well. So you may have a little bit of an insight on some of those players as well, because my knowledge on the new players coming into this draft is limited at best. Similar to you guys, I've been living on caffeine, doing 3 episodes of Australian Survivor a week, doing Survivor South Africa, being pretty busy at work as well, just getting more and more responsibilities there. So I've had limited time to prepare for the players that I haven't seen on the show yet. So I do feel like you've got a leg up on me there. But Drew, I'm kind of interested, since you've been doing a bit of research coming into this season, the theme of the season is spies, lies, and allies. What are we in for here? What type of theme? Like when I look at that, it kind of looks like it's another double agents, and we know the challenge like to double up on their themes. Is it going to be something very similar to that? What can we expect? Is it teams? Is it pairs? What's happening this season?
I think some people coming into this season thought it was going to be teams, kind of like War of the Worlds was, because there was 17 international, 17 U.S. Competitors. It sounds like and looks like that it's going to be a paired season where at first, at least, it's going to be a U.S. contestant being paired up with an international contestant. And then as I'm breaking down through the trailers, I almost feel like they're still going to have that double agents vibe to it, to where if somebody goes into the elimination, they may be able to steal a partner or swap partners. That's just my guess on the partner swapping, but that's what it looks like to me. And I wouldn't be surprised if they would have some stuff from double agents coming into this one, this Dr. Seuss of a title for the challenge.
Do we know if the skull twist is back at all? I was kind of getting tired of the skull twist after the previous 2 seasons of having it, but I feel like TJ is someone that really loves that.
I don't know if he actually really loves it. I know he loves people going down, proving themselves, competing. Everybody likes that aspect, and that's what I think the producers are really trying to like get people wanting to come down and prove and gain their spot in the final. I get that, but it wasn't working the first time around. It worked a little bit better the second time around, but it's still not working. So I hope that they don't bring it back or rework it completely. But I think that they have had other twists in the past for the arena that have worked a lot better.
Yeah, rumor has it that there is no skull twist, but I'm also like divided in my thought process because it wasn't executed well the last 2 seasons, and now they're bringing in so many people, and I think the whole thing was people are waiting too long, and everybody got a chance on those 2 seasons, and they wanted to purge. Now they're bringing in so many people, and now there possibly isn't a skull twist, so we aren't going to get a purge. I think if anything, possibly maybe this season it would have worked out the best, but I think they're not going to do it.
Well, that was what my biggest problem was with the skull twist. It's like, if everybody's going to get a skull, and then after everybody has a skull, they still have to defend their spot. It's like, what was the point of like making it? Like, if there was a finite amount of skulls and like, hey man, you don't have a skull and you're not even part of the conversation right now, that would be a little bit more interesting. And so the fact that everybody, if you get a skull and you get a skull and you get a skull and we all go to the final together, it just was kind of like, there was no climax there.
Yeah, 100%. I love the whole stealing partners and things like that. So I think that dynamic coming back into this season is something that I would be looking forward to seeing again. And, overall, I felt like the previous season was actually a pretty good season. Like you guys said, just having everybody get to the end of the season there, knowing that there was no real threat in trying to push yourself to go in and go and earn your skull early in the season, because you knew that you would get your opportunity later on. So it kind of defeated the whole purpose of that. If they kind of made it a little bit more random, because TJ had that threat every time, like, listen, you have to get a skull to get into my final. If you don't get the skull, then you're not going to play it. And he was trying to put that threat out there on them, but they called his bluff. There's a lot of sort of seasoned campaigners who've been in the challenge world for long enough to know how the production team works, and it's harder to fool them. If this was like a newbie season like you get on a lot of other reality shows like Survivor or Big Brother, I think production can get away a little bit more with fooling the players that are playing the game. But when you've got someone like, for instance, CT there, who's been there since the beginning of time, you're not going to fool CT in regards to how the game is played. All right, so we're going to get into a cast assessment and draft here for our teams, and how it's going to work is that we will have a random wheel spin to determine which one of us will go first and will pick whoever they want to go first. Whoever goes first also has the option to choose. So if you win by the spinning of the wheel and your name gets selected, Chris wins, for instance, and I choose Drew to go first, Drew will then have the option to choose if he wants to go male or female in that instance, and we will go snake draft from there. So really excited for this. Let me share my screen and let's get cracking into the business end of this podcast. All right, everybody can see that?
Ooh.
Here we go. Now, I'm normally really, really bad at this. I've never won one of these before, and that record is going to continue. Drew.
Oh no.
It's only right for the new person on the team to get the option to choose here if they want to go first, second, or third.
Okay. I think I want to go with Chantel first. And then I want to go second because I want to be like people telling. I want you guys to tell me who to pick next. Like I want you guys to start off each round, and then I'm going to go Chris third.
All right. I'm happy with that. So, Chantel, you will be the first person here to pick. And also, if you can keep a record, because we all know that I'm not the best when it comes to that, keep a record of who's going in what order. We should be good to go. And I'm going to change this so that, Chantel, you're first, and then Drew, you're second, and I'm third on that as well. So it should help a little bit as well.
All right. Well, just because I'm an OG stan and I love winners, I'm just going to start with men. So we're going to go male first. And I got to take CT off the board. It was my first pick last season. And I didn't end up winning the draft. I was short on my other draft that I was doing. I was short by like 5 points. But I think that CT is reliable. He is somebody that's so seasoned that even with these new explosions and jumping out of planes and drones, whatever it is, he's always just very good at everything. And so I do think that because it's pretty even with vets versus newbies, I do think that the vets are going to stay together. And I don't think that he will necessarily be a target right away. I think that people are going to want to use them to maybe get further on in the game. And he's so great at getting in with the new players. Like, look at his relationship with Big T, which they've mended their relationship now. So I'm thinking that, women are always going to be crushing on CT or having him give tutorials on something. So I do think he'll stick around for a while. And he's made so many finals. Why wouldn't he make another one? So let's go with CT.
I think coming into this season, I think he would have a bigger target on his back since he just won last season. But coming into this season, and all the vets in like all the trailers are worried about how many rookies there are in the season and how outnumbered they are. I feel like the whole thing of like, hey, the vets stick together is only going to benefit him the most. Yeah. So I think that's a really solid pick. He's also in the trailer a ton. So that's a very strong pick, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, CT was going to be my first pick. Let's be honest. Like, I wasn't going to go anywhere else because there's a player I actually know, and someone that, when it comes to the game of the challenge, like I just said before we went into the draft picks, experience is everything. Having been around the block for a long time, understanding the type of challenges that may come up, understanding what production might throw their way, I think is very important. And with so many newbies in this cast and not that many other really experienced guys to the level of CT's experience, not having Wes there, not having Johnny Bananas there or somebody like that, I think that he really is going to have his pick of the litter in regards to the newbies looking to him for advice and things like that. He's become a bit of a dad figure over the last, hard to believe that CT can be a dad, even though he doesn't have the dad bod anymore. He's getting better and better and more in shape these last couple of seasons, which is crazy to me that he won a season when he was probably in the worst shape ever. Not last season, the one that he won prior to that. I think it was Total Madness or something like that. I forgot the name of that specific season, but it was with Jordan and
War of the Worlds 2.
Yeah,
War of the Worlds 2. That's the one. And he wasn't in the best shape, but he still was such a beast.
He's
so
good.
For me, yeah, he's a solid pick. I mean, well done in taking him off. Really annoyed that you took him. But
who else am I going to take first? Come on, guys. Come on. I'm not going to let any of you guys have him.
All right, so Drew, you're next, I believe.
Okay, so my number one is still there, and I was going to pick him if I was the first pick regardless, and it's going to be Nelson, Scuba Nelly.
Ooh.
He's everywhere. He is all over the trailer, the super trailer. He's on the poster. He was in the live aftermath. He's getting I think we're going to get a renaissance of Nelson after what he did for Corey in Total Madness, what happened to him last season. And then he is being featured everywhere. He's getting the hero edit, it seems like, at first, right now. So to me, I'm very excited to see Nelson coming back, going farther than he was last season. And I want to see him get revenge in some way against Fessy. So I'm totally down with that. So I'm picking Nelson.
I'm surprised by this pick, but I haven't watched obviously all the trailers and studied them as much as you have to have that kind of inclination to want to pick him. I'm worried about Nelson. Like, I think he's a good pick. I think that always has a new girl that's like crushing on him, and so there's a lot of women I can see him maybe getting into a little relationship with, and he might be kind of king of the newbies. It's potential. I know that the Team Young Buck kind of comes together in this season, I believe. So I think it's a good pick, but I'm afraid if there's any water stuff, he's terrible at water, and he kind of fumbles under pressure sometimes. So I don't know if he could make it all the way to the end, and I don't know if he can eat disgusting stuff. So I like Nelson as a pick. I can see him going far, but I'm not sure if I can see him as the winner of this season. I feel like there's just too many like powerhouses that might be able to do a few things better than him. But he's pretty good. It's a pretty good pick. He'd be a few down for me.
Yeah, so for me, Nelson was ranked number 6 coming into this draft, but I do have a lot of respect for Nelson. I do think like he's got the physical ability to do extremely well. And like you said, Drew, he's had such bad luck in recent seasons, 2 seasons in a row that, you can, how many times in a row can you be unlucky? Surely at some point your luck's going to turn.
Leroy, it never turned around.
Yeah.
So.
That's true. And
Ugh.
Leroy's a beast of a competitor as well. Let's not go there. But, again, he's got a lot of experience and there isn't that many. One of the things that really stood out for me when I was looking at the cast and specifically, the females is even probably less, but even within the men, there's not that much experience at the moment. So I feel like some of these players that's been around the block for a while, we know that the challenge that if you're an experienced campaigner, if you're a veteran, people want to work with other veterans. They just like that familiarity of having worked with them before. So I think that he could potentially get himself into a really good position here early on. So I don't think it's a bad pick. And I also hope that, he does do well this season. I would not be upset with, because I've seen Nelson grow on my screen from being this very immature guy when he first came on to where he is now. And it's actually been really cool to see. And my pick that I'm going to go for is going to be in line with that. I'm going to take his right-hand man, Corey, off the board here, who was my second pick coming into this season as well. And with Corey, that relationship between him and Nelson have just been something that's really grown on me over the last, we spoke about editing and how powerful editing can be off air, Drew, beforehand. And the editors have really sold us this duo between Corey and Nelson over the last couple of seasons where you want to shout for them. The brotherhood that they have between themselves, Nelson sacrificing himself for Corey. Corey, for me, he's got all the physical abilities. The only problem for him is the fact that I don't think he's good at puzzles. I don't think he's good at the strategic side of the game. But if he gets the right partner here, he could go all the way. I think that he just needs to get that right person there with him where they can carry a little bit of the weight in regards to the strategizing, carry a little bit of the weight in regards to the puzzles and things like that. And he will come to the party when it comes to the physical game. I don't think he's going to struggle there. And he's got the experience. He's there with the young bucks, some sort of an alliance potentially that could be forming there. And I really hope that they get their revenge on maybe Fessy this season, but I've got a feeling they're going to be working together.
Yeah, I mean, Corey's in the same alignment with as Nelson for me. They're good, but I don't know if they could be the winner because I feel like unless they get there and it's only them two, I just see a lot of people being able to beat them. Corey, he did get to the final last season, which was really great, but he didn't win. He wasn't able to win against CT. He came in third, right? Because Leroy beat him. So I don't know. I mean, I like both of these guys. They've been around for a while. I'm used to them competing. I am interested to see how they interact with the new women, especially from other countries, to see if they have a better partner, a decent partner, if he'll be able to do better. So I'm looking forward to see how well he does. But I don't know. I don't have that much faith in either Nelson or Corey personally.
I think it's a solid pick. Corey got third place in Total Madness, and he did finish third overall in last season's final, but he came in second place because Cam finished before Nani. So he did take home some cash prize. He's making finals. He's doing good socially. If he keeps on this trend and keeps making finals, he's bound to hit a win at some point, you would think. So yeah. I think it's a really solid pick. These are actually my top 3 picks in the men's side. So to me, this is going exactly how I have it on my sheet.
That's awesome.
Well, to have your approval, that says a lot because you've done your homework coming into this more than what we probably did coming into this one. So really happy with that. And then my next pick, I don't think you guys probably would have had, I would be shocked if you didn't have this girl somewhere in the top 3, to be honest. Yeah. I don't know if you would have had her number 1 specifically, but I do feel like I have to go for Casey. Now, the thing with Casey is that
she's my number 1.
She's your number 1. Okay, so the thing with Casey for me is she is boring TV. Let's just put that out there, right? So for me, I don't find her exciting when she does her confessionals. She doesn't bring a lot to the table in regards to the TV show. But one thing that we can't deny, when it comes to Casey is that she is a competitor. She is one of the stronger, physically athletically built girls out there. Obviously having that experience playing women's football over American football over in the States, something that she's carried into this with Fessy, where she's extremely strong. The only problem that she has, the Achilles heel that she has for me this season, if it's going to be again partners that are going to get stolen, will Fessy try to steal her again? Because I think that Fessy will drag her down, sadly, in her social game and also as a partner if they were to work together. And I did feel like she was dealt a really bad hand. If her and Leroy stuck together last season, they could have been the champions. And I actually thought that she was going to become the first 2-time champion, a Big Brother champion who also becomes the challenge champion. And I think that's in her future. I really do think that at some point she could still pull that off. She's really good socially. She's really good strategically. So I feel really comfortable picking Casey here as my number 1 pick.
Solid pick for sure. I mean, I don't particularly care for her gameplay, or I definitely hated last season that she just like gave up. She lost that final for Leroy. I do think that if they were together in the end, it's very possible that they could have beat CT and Amber. Like they would have had a chance. And I was just really frustrated with her and Fessy of it all. So I'm hoping that she's learned her lesson and won't allow Fessy to actually drag her down, because she got a choice in this matter. I'm sure they were strategizing and talking about it, and it was part of the plan for him to steal her when he could. So hopefully she's learned that Fessy isn't the greatest partner, and then she'll just do what she does best. She's really good at the game. She does have a good social strategy, and if I don't particularly like it, she's great at making connections with people and people trusting her. And I don't know if this is considered a spoiler or not, but her and Nani get pretty friendly. So Nani is using
that was shocking.
Strategically. Shocking? Why is it shocking?
Yeah, because doesn't she have a girlfriend? That's
the
been
girlfriend.
like
No. You haven't seen those texts, those tweets? No.
No, I haven't. So okay, I've clearly been way off the radar when it came to anything of the challenge. So yeah, so that is exciting to see her getting in some sort of, and I feel like she needs something. Like she needs to spice up her character outside of just being like a physically dominant female on the show. Because like I said, she's kind of a bit of a, I really think she's a nice person, but she's a bit of a snooze fest when it comes to the TV side of it, for me personally.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how it was with her on Big Brother. I mean, she stayed so under the radar that even the cameras couldn't detect her. And that's why everybody loved Tyler more than her, because everybody thought he was going to he was getting the hero edit, but he was just talking to too much people and saying too many things that cost him even possibly winning, when Casey just kept low and wouldn't talk to people that was going to get her in trouble. I think this is a solid pick. I mean, she's always going to be one of the top athletically gifted females in the challenge on a season. Again, she hasn't missed a final in her challenge career. And kind of like how I said with Corey, the more time she gets to a final, there's going to bound to be a shot of her winning. So, I mean, I think this is a really solid pick. Yeah, I think it's solid.
All right. So Drew, I think you're next with the female pick.
You know what? I'm going to go with the returning vet that we haven't seen in a while, and I'm going to pick Amanda. And I'm really putting a lot into these promos and these posters and everything. I don't know if she's being featured because she goes far or because we haven't seen her in a while, but she's coming in. She wants people to fight. She wants to win this money. Yes, she kisses Fessy, but maybe that's a kiss of death and he's going to be going, and then she can be more focused on her game. I just think she's going to come in wanting to show off and try to win. And that's what I've been waiting for since her last season. Well, Final Reckoning, I think she would have won with Zach. So, I mean, if she gets a good partner, I think she's going to take off with it. I just want her to play her game and not sacrifice herself for her friends, aka Ashley. Like, don't do this anymore. Ashley has her 2 wins. You do your thing, and I know you can win. Like, do your thing, Amanda. So I'm gonna pick Amanda as my women pick.
I mean, Amanda's in my top 4 out of the women, so I think she's a great pick. I love that she's coming back. She's a new mom. She's there. She's hungry for the money. We know that they had to go in and out of quarantine, and so the fact that she came back means that she really wants to be there, because that would have been a perfect opportunity to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna leave now." Like I didn't really anticipate to have these extra 2 weeks here. So I do think she's coming in to win that money. She's always been pretty good athletically. She's been good at puzzles. She's not great strategically, socially, but I do think that she's capable of going far. Now, I am worried that she is going to be getting into some sort of relationship with Fessy. She kind of alluded to them being an item or something on what's it called? Devon show, the aftershock. I don't remember what it's called.
Aftermath.
Aftermath. And so they did like a little like preview of like the season, and they were talking, and she was just kind of like, I don't know, like maybe I get into a relationship with somebody. So you know she's going to get into some sort of relationship, but I think that he will protect her, and I think that that's kind of a good thing for her, because if he does win some things, he might be able to keep her out of, you know, having to go down to the crater or whatever it's called. So I do think that she'll go decently far. I'm not sure if she could win it, but I would like to see her do so. So she's a good pick.
And one thing good about her social game this season is that there is no bananas, there is no Kara. So she's coming in with a lot more friends than enemies than when she has done in the past. So that is a bonus that I didn't mention.
Did her
Yeah,
and
you
Josh
still like
leave?
the. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just asking if her and Josh left on good terms or not. I remember they were partners and they were.
Oh, yeah.
They hate. Okay, they're good terms.
Yeah,
now?
No,
Yeah,
they
cool.
love each other. Yeah.
Okay, so then
Well,
she's
Josh loves her a little bit more than what she loves him,
boy.
but still, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Speaking of Josh, though, right now they're doing that U.S. Versus Canada Big Brother fight night, and so that's happening right now. It's just really funny. I need to go and watch that after.
It's going to be funny. It's going to be funny because obviously Amanda's going to come in there and is going to hook up with Fessy. Casey's going to hook up with Nanny. Like, you know, he's going to be there thinking, I wanted both Nanny and Amanda, but my friends keep getting the girls I'm after. It's just going to be this interesting dynamic since it's his closest allies in the game. But like, you know, you took the words out of my mouth there towards the end, Drew. She's got no enemies coming into this season, which is something that stood out for me. And I think that she is underestimated. That season with Joss was a final reckoning that you mentioned, that she was paired up with him. That was really UK. Was it UK Joss or was Zach? Sorry, it was Zach that she was paired up with.
Yeah,
they were really doing well. They were doing really, really well that season. And I think that, you know, she is a good age. She's 28 years old. She's still so young. Like, I feel like she's been on our screens for such a long time since she's already done 6 of these seasons, you know. So again, experience counts for something. Maybe she hasn't played in a while, but I think that she could be primed to go very deep in this game. So good pick. She was my number 4 pick overall. So a top 4 pick for me as well. And I believe, Chantal, we're back to you to your first lady pick.
I mean, you kind of mentioned her, Drew. You don't really like the idea of the dynamic between her and Amanda, but she's a winner. And we want to take winners. They know how to get to the end. They know how to win. They know what they need to do. They know what it feels like if they're on the chopping block. They're not. Ashley is willing to call people out. She's willing to go down there. She's not afraid, and I think that is really good. And she's great at building up a resistance of, you know, the lavender ladies or whatever that was to go against the bananas of the world, et cetera, et cetera. So I do think that it's possible for her to be able to build a little bit of an army to be able to protect her. I think that she probably had the experience of doing quite poorly in the last season in Double Agents. I mean, they did bring her back, but she still wasn't able to do that well. And I think that might have humbled her a little bit. And now she's going to come back again and maybe come and take the W. So I'm going with Miss Ashley Millionaire Mitchell.
So very disappointed here. She was my number 2 pick, and I was hoping she would come back to me at some point. But, you know, 2-time champion. She's been in a final before. She's been in 3 finals in total. A lot of experience. She's been humbled in recent seasons. It's been a bit of a track record where she hasn't gone very deep. And I feel like she got a lot of the burn from having worked with the Cara Maria Paulie alliance a couple of seasons ago. There was the stigma around people that sort of worked together in that season, and she kind of got a little bit of the burn being the one person that kept playing afterwards. Funny enough, Killer Cam kind of avoided that to a certain degree in the last season, and just being the great social player that she is, she was able to maneuver her way out of that. But I do think that, you know, Ashley coming in here, surely, you know, I don't believe there's going to be another. She's too much quality to have another season that she's going to be underperforming in. And great TV. I want to shout for her. She's someone I want in my team because I want to shout for her. You know, Drew, what's your thoughts on this pick here?
I think it's a good pick. I mean, go with the winners. She can win. She's good at puzzles. She almost won the Smuggle Run mini final last season with Corey. I mean, she's a great pick. I don't think working with Cara and Paulie for season 34 put a target on her back. I think she's always going to have a target on her back ever since Final Reckoning's final. Yeah. I think no matter what, it's going to be hard to scrub that off. I mean, Nelson brought it up in Double Agents, the reunion last season, and it was like, how many seasons was that? Was that 4 seasons ago? Like, what were we talking about now? So I think it's a solid pick. I mean, go with the winners for sure. So I think it's solid.
Thanks. Oh, I have a boy
Right,
now, don't I? Oh boy. I don't know if I want to pick this person, but I'm just going to do it.
Let me guess.
I'm just what? Okay, go. Let me see your guess.
Fessy?
Yeah,
Is it
there he
Fessy?
is. There he is. There he is. There he is. I was
knew
hoping that one of you would just take him so I wouldn't have to take him. I mean, he has made it to 2 finals in the 2 seasons that he was on previous to this. So he does know to a certain degree how to get to the end. I think the fact that he's really a big guy, it does intimidate people from wanting to go down against him in certain elimination rounds. So I think that he has that to his advantage, that not everybody's going to be ready to go up against him. So he can avoid potentially a lot of eliminations. Usually rookies are thrown down there over and over again, and then eventually they'll go home, but they just don't want to do that with him because it's like, ooh, if we throw Fessy down there, chances are we're going to be the one that goes home. So I'm thinking that it's probably going to be a similar pattern this season, is that not everybody's going to really want to go up against him, and he might be able to, just kind of skate by all the way to the end. He hasn't been that great at most challenges, like unless it's completely physical, like a running thing or maybe like a wrestling thing, like obviously Hall Brawl is his favorite. So I don't know how well he's going to do in the dailies, but I do think that he does have enough people now, and we're learning that he's going to be in some sort of relationship with Amanda. So with Amanda, that might bring in Ashley, and then he already has, he might be able to mend fences for now with the other Big Brother people. So I do feel like he'll have a lot of numbers on his side. Sorry, I meant Corey and Nelson as well as the Big Brother people. So I do think he'll have some numbers on his side. And I think that that could protect him for a long time. And even all the Big Brothers from the other, like around the world, they might be like, hey, let's have all the Big Brothers come together. And so that might be a way to bond with some more people on the season.
Yeah.
You're like,
I have him at number 15. No, I'm just kidding. I really wasn't gonna pick him. I just think he has such a big target on his back. Yes, he is big, but there's also some big fellas in this cast as well. We got Nam coming back. We have Gabo. We have Kells. And I want to say that at one point we hear Nelson saying, like, let's backstab him or something. We don't know who he's talking about, but I have a feeling he was talking to Devin and then they fist bump. And I want to believe that they're going to try to send in Fessy against maybe like Kells or somebody just as big in case it is a Hall Brawl, and maybe they can outmuscle him. So we'll see. Also, there's something very interesting in the super trailer. I don't want to say it just because it just seems, I don't know if it's too spoilery. It is in the super trailer if you see it, but there could be something coming to Fessy in the season.
Yes, but I'm like, I'm just gonna pretend like I don't speculate what I think might be happening.
Yeah,
so like,
exactly.
I'm going in with like not speculating the worst.
But I mean, just like Casey, he's made it to the finals every single season he's been in. So I mean, it's going to be tough to see him go through a season and get finally eliminated in an elimination. It's just like, will it happen, and when it will happen, and against who, really?
Yeah, I mean, Fessy for me, I'll be honest, I had him at number 3 coming into this. You have to. I mean, even if you don't like the guy, just physical ability, you gotta look at that and say he's gonna be a threat any season he plays. We know he's got this stigma around him as like maybe he's like this jock that's not the smartest, but I don't think he's it's not like he isn't book smart. Like he can do puzzles, he can do those kind of things. He was okay with that even in Big Brother. I think the big issue for him more is his social game. And I look at it, even at that reunion, when people were telling him where he went wrong, he didn't own it at all. So for me, that kind of shows that he hasn't learned from the things that he's done incorrectly. So karma's going to come back this season probably. And I feel like there's going to come a point where it's going to catch up to him. So they've got to try and throw him in a challenge where potentially he won't be comfortable. And Hall Brawl's not it, and he's not always going to be able to do the physical challenges to get himself through every single challenge. If that was the case, then, we would have had a lot more wins for players like Wes and CT and Bananas. Bananas have had a lot of wins, but you throw those players in the type of elimination rounds that they are not comfortable with. I think with Fessy, they just haven't figured out what that is yet. But like
Eating.
you said, quite rightfully, Drew, there's going to be quite a few big physical guys coming in this season, and potentially there could be some undercover, really good players, like some of these new players we don't even know who they are yet. All right, Drew, you're next.
Oh yeah, it is me. I got a theme going on, and I kind of want to keep with the theme because I have speculations on this player. I'm gonna stick with "Are You the One?" and I'm gonna pick Devin as my pick. So Devin is being featured a lot in the promos and the trailers. He is in the live aftermath, and there's something that he says. There's a line that he says about how he doesn't like players from all these different shows. He doesn't like the new shows on the seasons when they first appear. But he said that he was trying to learn from what he did wrong last season and try to implement a new plan. And he said, quote, "I think it worked out well for me." I don't know what well means in his book, whether it is making it to a finals, whether it's making it farther than he did last season. But either way, I'll go with somebody saying that they think they did well in their own opinion about the season than somebody that I may not have even seen any time at any point during this whole process of like breaking down trailers or promos or anything like that.
I mean, I love Devin as a person. I would always want to have him on my team just because like he's likable. I know some people hate him, but like I really like him. I think he's funny and I think he's harmless. And I think that I would want to be conspiring with Devin. You know what I mean? So I think he's a great pick for that, just like entertainment wise, having someone to root for. He was on the Aftermath show and he did say something. I don't know if it was the line was there that he said that, but he was kind of saying that he learned to like, you know, get along with people that he didn't expect to get along with. And so I'm wondering if he's going to be part of that Big Brother alliance and have that protection that we've been talking about a little bit so far. So I agree with you. It seems like he does well just from how he was carrying himself. He kind of tends to be like, oh, like I'm kind of goofy and dopey. And he seemed a little bit more put together and kind of poised with how he was carrying himself at the after show. So Aftermath. So I can see him doing well. And I would like to have him on my team. So that's a great pick.
I'm in two minds here. I'm in such two minds about who I'm going to go for next because I can go for the road that's very comfortable and we know kind of who these players are because they've been on our screens for quite a while and they probably have the relationships. But I also want to go for someone that I think undercover could be an extremely explosive player this season, and someone that potentially could go far just in challenges. I don't know if they'll win this whole show, but a couple of seasons ago, we had a Survivor player come on to the challenge, and that person took everything out, and that was Turbo. And this player is Romania's version of that. It's Emmanuel. He's played in Survivor Romania. He's won over 40 challenges when he was on that season for Survivor Romania. He won, I believe, the most immunity wins that season as well of any player while he was on there. He's a dancer as his occupation, apparently. But looking at some of the videos online of him doing those challenges and how athletic he was when he did those, he just gave me such Turbo vibes that I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to take a risk. I had someone else just above him, but I've seen in the chat, we've been sort of lambasted for not going for him a little bit earlier. And on purpose, Dan, I've not put your chats on here because I didn't want these guys to steal them from me. But I felt like if I wasn't going to pick him this round, you guys are going to do it.
Know that. Don't worry.
I just don't want to bring more attention to it.
I know. I was already thinking that this round I was going to veer off from the vets. He was my number one of the non-vet people. So good on you for going there because I would have snagged him next pick.
Yeah, very solid.
That's a relief.
Very solid. I think we see him quite a bit. And in the live aftermath, I found it interesting that he had a question. He got his own like little like opening introduction by Devin. And she didn't do that with really any of the other rookies. And she talked about Devin and Emmanuel and Emmy and gave some backstory to him and stuff. And I was just like, that's odd. Like, it's kind of like how you're watching a cartoon and one of the panels on the fence is like a different color than the rest of the fence. And you're like, well, something's going to pop out of there. So it just seemed weird that she was like, this is Emmanuel. He's a dancer and did all these shows. And who would you rather spend 24 hours with? I was like, so random, but sure. Let's have this question in here. So I think that was a solid pick. I had him around 7. So I think it's a good solid pick.
Yeah, I bumped him up one spot. I did have another that could have been the more surefire way to go pick ahead of him, but I just thought if I don't pick him now, and it sounds like it was the right move here, I probably would lose him. And I think that he could be a very undercover player. And plus, being the survival worldwide person for reality pop, how bad would it have been if I didn't actually pick an international survival player to be in my team? So I kind of have to represent in that sense. So I believe that the next pick is going to come back my way as well here, unless you had anything additional you wanted to add there on Emmanuel, Chantel.
No, I didn't. Like, I think that he's solid. I like anybody I would go for anybody that's more Survivor than Big Brother, just because you know that they've had to do physical type of challenges that might put them outside of their comfort zone. So if they did well in Survivor, I would be more inclined to pick them over somebody that did well in Big Brother. So yeah, I think that any
or
of the
on a dating show,
good picks. Pardon me, or the day, or 12 days of Christmas, or whatever it's called. Like, I don't know, but maybe we'll see.
Okay. So this next person, I understand why they're still on the board, but I also still feel like surely this person has got a big season still in them, and it's going to be Tori Deal that I'm going to take out on this spot. So with Tori, it's interesting because I feel like when she was with Jordan, that period when she used to come onto the show, physically she was probably at her peak because we all know how much he trains. And I think them being in a relationship together, he kind of lifted her own standard in regards to how she trained. So probably about 2-3 seasons ago when they came on together, I thought that could be the season that she would win it because she was physically, I felt like, at her peak at that point. I don't know if she's still as dedicated to actually winning the show as she was back in the day when she was with him. But I do know that she's got a lot of experience. She's someone that's been in 2 finals before. So I've got to go back to that experience route here and sort of go for someone that we know, 14 daily wins. She's won three wins in the elimination, 3 losses. So it's pretty 50-50. But then again, she's lost against people who were pretty good, right? I mean, going up against the people that she's lost, it hasn't been a humiliation by any means. So I think having that experience of having seen eliminations before, having been to finals before, that's going to help her. Obviously, she's got a great relationship with Anissa. They do their own version of the podcast as well now, which is going to be interesting how they continue to do those when they're actually on the season themselves, and the conflict of interest there. But I think she's a pretty solid pick. How do you guys feel about Tori coming into this season?
Tori was my next girl pick. Like, for sure, she has the experience. I don't think that she's in a relationship with anybody right now. So I think that I don't know if that's going to be good or not for Tori. It seems like she likes playing the game with like a guy that's there supporting her, or like that she's either rooting for. Like, she does seem to like to play in tandem. So I don't know what it will be like her playing by herself. I don't know what it will be like with her being on the season with Fessy, who she had some sort of flirt mance or vacation mance with. Like, I don't know what happened with them. So I don't know if that's going to cause any friction. But when she puts her head down and gets to work, like, she's able to do well. She did actually very well when she was with Devin for part way of the season last for Double Agents. And so we know that she still has it in her to do pretty well. So I'm really looking to see how well she can actually do, but to be a little bit wiser and not having maybe any baggage to contend with.
Yeah, I'm going to be the opposite one here. And I think this is where personal bias comes into my list. I had her out of the 17 women, I had her at rank number 14. Yeah, I think it was just personal bias maybe, but I'm not a huge Tori fan. So I wasn't going to pick her. But I mean, you were really like turning me to being like, maybe I should have had her higher. So you know what? I think it's a good pick for you. I think
okay.
So
yeah, I don't know how much of a sell I really did on Tori's abilities there, but I've personally, and again, I don't follow all the. I'm probably a little bit more on the casual side in the sense that I actually watch the show more than watch what goes on behind the scenes after the seasons and things like that. So, from what I've seen in the seasons that she's been on, I think she's a pretty solid competitor. I think that she's someone that can be extremely dangerous, and I feel like she's had bad luck a few times where she's gone up against really good competitors in elimination rounds where she hasn't made it. And plus, she is a bit of a free agent this season. I'm really interested to see where she's going to go strategically, who she's going to work with. Like, Anissa's a pretty strong bond for her, but her working with Devon last season, apparently they've had this rivalry for a very long time that seems to be more of like a frenemy type of relationship now. And I feel like even with Devon, she probably isn't as bad a spot as you would think coming into the season. So potentially she'll have some people to work with. I think most people in general in the challenge will actually quite like her, which within the actual seasons, the people that are playing.
And she has Anissa there, and love or hate Anissa, she's still pretty good socially. Even if Gisela doesn't like her anymore, like she's still like able to get decently far in these seasons. So if her and Anissa are kind of working together, Anissa still has an in with Corey. She might be able to be protected partially by that Big Brother alliance. And if Devon is coming in there as well, they work well together, even though you're saying it's kind of a love-hate frenemy style relationship. I think that she might be insulated enough. And she probably is going to find somebody that she likes. Like this is kind of her style of gameplay. I wouldn't be surprised if she found somebody on the international side of things that was maybe a strong competitor, because she loves strong competitors in her partners, or like her romantic partners. So I can see her finding, like the number one guy pick from the international crew that she might start cuddling up next to, which will probably protect her on that side too. So with her style and gameplay, with all these new people that are like very attractive and like they're excited to be on this show and they're going to be physically very capable, I think that she's going to be attracted to many of them, and I think that she's going to be protected. So I do think it's actually, I'm selling it her on myself right now. I'm like, oh my God, that'd be a great pick.
I'm feeling better about this.
just make sure she knows where to say the word layup and where not to. Maybe when just talking about basketball games and playing pickup, maybe talk about layups, but keep it away from all the stuff like that.
She learned, I think, from her mistake there.
All right, Drew, you have got the next pick here. Who are you going with for your next female pick?
Okay, so we were just talking, and when you were coming into your pick, I was worried that you were going to pick this person. I too want to pick a Survivor player. This time I'm going to get into the rookies, and I was going back and forth this whole time whether going between, say, Berna or Emmy. And to me, I think I just have to go with Emmy, just for the sole fact that she did get a like pointed question in the live aftermath. She is seen in a few eliminations. Hopefully that's a good sign in some way. But I don't know. She seems solid. And again, I don't think she would be pointed out as being a standout or something. I don't think she would have been pointed out in the live aftermath if she wasn't going to be some sort of standout or something on the season that's going to be exciting to watch. So I have to go with Emmy.
Emmy looks great. I believe she's best friends with Emmanuel. She's been on, I think, 4 or 5 seasons of Survivor. So they keep on bringing her back because she must be doing something right. Whether she's like a great character or whether she's like gets all the way to the end or does really well physically. I think that she's somebody that will be able to adapt pretty well to the challenge. And I think she'll enjoy being a competitor. Like who goes back on Survivor 3 other times if like they weren't hungry for a win? So I do think that she's going to have that inside of her. As I said before, I think that people that are Survivor players are going to be better at the challenge than Big Brother people. So I think that's great. And she already has a best friend in there. So she already has somebody that she can talk to and kind of strategize with and talk about the game and kind of figure out their game plan as to how to move forward in the challenge. And so I think that she's a very solid rookie pick. Definitely my number 1 and number 2. She's up there.
I wasn't aware that she played more than once. I'm trying to frantically look up to see what version she played, and I knew that she played in one season. But
am I wrong? Maybe it's Bettina that played in multiple. No,
I think it's Bettina.
No, Bettina was X on the Beach in Paradise Island. No, she played in who? Then there's somebody that played in 4 seasons.
There's someone.
Maybe I got the wrong person.
I remember there was one player that played in multiple seasons.
I thought it
We'll probably
was Emmy,
get
though.
that at some point, but it's not her. I think she only played in the same season as Emmanuel. And from what I can see, she looks like. I mean, you look at her; she looks like she's a pretty tough tough woman, right? So I feel like she's not going to be afraid to go in a hole brawl or to do a physical challenge or anything like that. Where I'm a little bit fearful for some of these international players would be around the social aspect. How well do they pick up on the cues with the Americans? And, with a guy, sometimes you can get away with it a little bit easier. It's one of those unfair advantages of being a guy. Sometimes if you're a turbo or you're a num, you can just still beast your way through competitions and people will naturally gravitate to you. But I wonder with her how well she's going to ingratiate herself socially with others. But then again, in saying that, Survivor is a social game. Her accent was pretty thick when she was in those interviews. I had to really listen to that as someone that's from another country and I'm used to a lot of different accents. When I watched International Survivor, I thought that was something that stood out. But overall, I think it's a really solid pick. I did think you were going to go for someone else when you started going down that line. So I am still relieved. I've got a few picks still on the board myself. So I'm not as high on this one. I'm probably where you were with the Tory one in the initial when you went there. But like you said, she's getting a lot of promo stuff at the moment. So that could be very positive for her.
Oh, I swapped up a strategy here. I had her a little bit lower and I just decided to, after talking about Emmanuel, I was like, oh yeah, that should be probably my next pick. So I deviated from this. I called an audible.
That's fair enough. Sometimes you have to do that. It's half the fun. So I think Chantal, you are next with your next female pick.
I am, and I definitely don't know where to go because I see the person that I was mistaking Emmy for. And that was for multiple seasons of Survivor. But I'm wondering if I need to protect a little bit of the North American Survivor players here. And I think that I have to go with another winner. And I have to do it. I saw that tweet earlier on today, Chris, and I'm going to take Michelle Fitzgerald. I'm taking her off the board.
If you didn't take her here, she was mine next. Yeah,
sure. That's what I was worried. And that's who I thought you were going to go with actually before Emmy Michelle, or Emmy Drew. And so I love Michelle. She's played obviously 2 seasons of Survivor. She's gotten to the end both times, one time being the winner. So she knows how to play these games. She's very great at listening. She's very great at like her social games. Awesome. People are never threatened by her. They're never trying to get her out. And that's how she usually gets to the end of these seasons. So I feel like she has enough Survivor people that she'll be like, okay, let me get my people together and let's like figure out how to do well in this game. So she'll already be strategizing. And I think that she will be able to maneuver herself really well. The people like, Natalie was on the show. She immediately went over to Wes. Like, yes, like he was kind of flashy, but I think that it was smart of her to like learn a little bit about how to play the challenge from someone like Wes, who was such a huge veteran. So I feel like she's smart enough to figure out how to play the game. And she's capable of getting to the end of these things. And if she's coming on to play the challenge, I'm hoping that she did a little bit of homework and she just knows how the game goes a little bit. So I'm putting some eggs in Michelle Fitzgerald's basket, so hoping that she's going to be a rookie that gets to the end here.
I'm gutted. I was definitely going to go for Michelle next. I don't know how she's going to do with the physical challenges. I do have flashbacks of her being in Winners at War, constantly like falling off like the real athletic type of challenges, and it became a little bit of her own running joke where she was saying, I'm just doing so bad in some of these like balancing challenges or some of the more like physical type of challenges, but she's really good with puzzles. Like, I mean, if you remember towards the end how quickly she did those puzzles in her own season, the first season, and at Winners at War, she's really good at those. So I do think she's really smart. I think she's socially really capable, and people are going to like her. They're going to want to work with her. And there is also the threat, again, of a CBS type of alliance that could form between her and the Big Brother people. She's got the ins potentially with some of the Survivor crew, the international Survivor crew that's coming onto this. So Tommy is on there. Her and Tommy are really good friends as well. So she's got options, and Michelle with options is going to be dangerous in this game. I personally think so. And if we're going off who's getting a lot of the preseason promo stuff, Drew, she's been getting quite a bit.
Yes. I would be this is the I would be more comfortable picking Michelle and say Michaela if Jay was on the challenge with them. If he was on this season, I feel like he could have helped make a bridge of the rookie Survivor players, and then also the vets that are in the challenge house. We do get spoiled in the super trailer on one elimination matchup where it is Michelle going up against Michaela, which worries me if the vets are going to somehow want to take a shot at some of the players that may know each other from inner circles. So, and then she's also kissing Emmanuel, which rookie on rookie makeout sessions could be like a big target. Say like, hey, they're now becoming a duo within the Survivor alliance and stuff, if there is going to be one. So I mean, I love the pick. I love Michelle being on the challenge. I want her and Michaela to go very far. I want them to be regulars throughout the series. But yeah, I
for Natalie to come back, right?
Oh yeah, please, Natalie, Jay. Let's just get a ton of Survivor. Let's just have Survivor versus the challenge, and let's have that going.
Challenge,
like let's just do that. Let's just have that.
It would be more fun. It would be more fun. It would be more fun than Big Brother. And I'm still gutted that there's certain Survivor players from the US that have not made their way over. Like, I feel like I still want to talk to production and how they choose who from Survivor or Big Brother comes and plays in these seasons. You know, Michelle's a good choice. Jay's a decent choice as well. But there are like really good challenge beasts. You know, you're bringing in a guy like Emmanuel from Romania that's got a massive track record for being one of the biggest challenge beasts over in Romania. And you're leaving out some of our best challenge beasts over here in the US or over in the US version of it. So anyways, I'm still very happy to see Michelle. I am gutted that you took her at this spot, and it's a good pick. I would have taken her for sure.
No.
I shouldn't have tweeted.
Oh, no, I would have taken her anyways, though. Like, I definitely, like, I enjoy Michelle, and I like seeing her play, and I want to see her strategize. I even watched her, you know, playing Sequester last summer. And like, it was just fun watching her play, you know, the little strategy game online. So I enjoy Michelle. I like that she even plays Among Us with like a group of like my friends from like the RHAP community. So like, she's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Was it Among Us? One of those games, one of the games she was playing with everybody. So I think she's great. I want to see her do well. I would love for her to be a staple of the series as well. So now I'm trying to go for my next pick. I just don't remember what this person looks like. I don't know who I should go for here. I'm definitely edging away from the vets. And I think what do you guys, should I go with like someone like size? But I don't know if they're smart. No, I'm gonna go for
I reckon you should go for Josh.
I'm going for Kels. Okay. So the reason why I was hesitant because I don't know how he is in like strategy games, this type of thing. He was on Too Hot to Handle. There was no real strategy in there. He kind of started crushing on a girl, and they like, I think they kissed and lost some money for the group. Like there was nothing about that was really strategic. But you know, he's a big guy. I believe he's 6'6", so he's either the same height or taller than Fessy, which is great. I like the fact that there's just somebody size-wise that can compete with Fessy's mass. And also, though, the fact that he's from the UK, he's going to have Kyle. And that's what made me, Kyle's there. He'll be able to take him in under his wing. Now, love or hate Kyle, he's good at playing the game. Like, he's good at getting far. He may be a sneaky snake. He may be, you know, somebody that you don't always trust. But he sometimes is really great at saying the right thing to get with the right people to move far into the game. So I'm definitely hoping that, you know, Kels, he's like, oh, I need a nice meat shield. I need my own Fessy over here. Come over here, Kels. We're from the UK. Let's play. And that maybe he'll be able to kind of get in with some alliances just from having the UK connection.
Yeah, I love the pick. Well, I love Kels. And when I was watching Too Hot to Handle, I watched both seasons. I'm not a fan of that show. That show is just like, oh my gosh, it's just like a hypersexualized Love Island with none of the charm. And it's just like, whatever. So to me, I was just like, when I saw him on that show, I was like, what are you doing on this dating show? Please come to the challenge where you can actually rip somebody's head off. Because I think on that show, he was just like, I want to win as much money as I can. And if he heard somebody would kiss somebody, he was like about to lose it. And I was like, yes, come to do it here. And now he's here and he says it in the trailer, I'm going to rip somebody's head off or something to that effect. And I'm like, yes, do it.
I haven't seen the super trailer yet. So I'm excited. Great.
And I love that him and Priscilla seem to be getting very together. And I think that is just like a power duo in the mix. I would love to see them just like connect and be like a force to be reckoned with throughout the for multiple seasons of the challenge. So I'm happy to see him on here. I don't know. I think he's coming in. I don't think he doesn't sound like he's going to have the best social game, because he's going to come in and want to just prove everybody that he can be dominant, which I feel he can, but I just don't want to see him having to go into like 5 different eliminations in one season, just back to back to back to back, which I fear if he goes in there just wanting to rip somebody's head off every single step, they're going to just keep throwing him in there, just hoping that one day he'll slip up and get eliminated. So hopefully he'll do well this season, and then he's just going to be a regular where he could just dominate for years to come.
Yay. I'm like, phew, Drew likes my stuff.
Always a good pick. So I didn't have much of an opinion of him coming into this. I didn't watch Too Hot to Handle, so I've got no idea how he's going to do if he actually gets onto the show, but I will trust you guys as a judgment on him. I kind of had him somewhere in the middle of the newbies because I didn't really know too much about him, and I was sort of gravitating more towards the players that have done Survivor or some sort of physical challenge or something like that, opposed to having been on a dating show. But he does look quite athletic according to his photo. I just realized as I was doing the draft, I'd actually forgot to have his photo in there, so I'm just resetting the draft on my side. So Drew, you go on and choose your next player, and I should have this up in a second.
Okay, no problem. So I was really happy that you picked Kels, because one, I like Kels, but also you didn't pick the person that I really wanted to pick for this round, and that is Logan.
That's who I was debating between.
Survivor. This dude is an Adonis. My gosh, he is fit. He is pretty, and I think he could do some real damage in the show. He got runner-up on his season, and I think to get runner-up on any show, especially Survivor, you got to have strategy, you have to have social skills, and you have to be good in challenges. And I don't know. I think everybody's just going to gravitate towards him. He's just so pretty to look at. I think all the women are going to flock to him. I think he's going to be so sociable to the guys. I just really like him. I stalk him on Instagram. So ever since he was like rumored to be on the cast, I just was like, okay, this is someone I can definitely root for. And I definitely want to pick him. So I'm picking him.
Honestly, like I put him there, like he was my #1 rookie pick. And then I was like, no, but Kels, like he's like such a big guy. And so I put Kels on top. And then I'm like, oh, but like Survivor, like runner-up, like he'd be so good. I don't know what. And so I did debate. That's who I was debating back and forth between. So clearly, I co-sign what you are suggesting here with Logan being your first rookie guy pick or second. No, first. I love it. I want to see how well he does. As we've already said many times, like the people from Survivor, I'm excited to see how they play this game. You know that they have a little bit of the strategy most likely coming in, and you know that they're capable from out of North America of winning these things. Like we've seen with Turbo. Turbo did really well, not being able to speak English that well, but just being completely dominant physically. So I can see him being equally as exceptional physically. So, and he's good looking. So I think he's going to do really well.
Hallelujah.
Really well. But I was just kind of pulling up the cast list, and then I saw this, which is Nelson and Ashley.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have another draft that I'm doing later on tonight, and so we do points for hookup and stuff like that. So I'll remember that when I'm picking my people.
Okay, well, I like that pick. I think he's going to do well. I think that, from seeing what I saw of him competing in Survivor, and that he looks physically really fit, like you said, Drew, runner-up as well. So similar to Emmanuel, I believe he was a runner-up in his season as well. And with the international survivors, I think there's going to be a little bit more of a camaraderie where they're going to say, we need to stick together. Survivor players in general are more aware about the numbers. Like a lot of other shows when they come on to the challenge in the past, they've come from dating shows. They've come from these shows where numbers don't matter as much. But I think that these guys are going to be extremely aware of it. So the only problem and the only real fear that I have for the Survivor players is that the vets are also very aware that there's a big contingency of Survivor players coming onto this season. So I do think they're going to be very careful to have the Survivor Alliance not run away with the whole show. I think that's going to be a really big thing as well. I'm still sorting out the draft in the background, but I'll continue on with my picks next so we can continue to move on with this. I'm going to take Nam off the board at this stage, who's still been on there for quite a while. I feel like having him on any longer than this would do him a bit of a disservice. I think that Nam is someone that, having done Ultimate Beastmaster, being extremely physically fit, he had a little bit of a raw deal last season coming in with his partner, Lolo Jones. She was an absolute hurricane, a wrecking ball. She kind of wrecked his game a little bit, to be honest, I feel like. And he just didn't seem like he was enjoying his time at certain points on the show because of that relationship that they had, which I think kind of made him go more into his cocoon. The one really big fear that I have for him is that he will need to make sure that he creates allegiances and alliances outside of the people that he spoke with last season. Because, if you think about the people that kind of got along with him, like your Jades, for instance, Jay is not there this season. So he needs to make sure that he creates some new bonds with the other players that did play last season. But I also think that we know how the challenge works. The veterans kind of stick together, and he's going to be seen even after one season as a veteran, because being a veteran, there's not many of them this season. So I do think he's going to be safe in the early stages of the game. How he goes long-term, I don't know. And I just hope he can get through a whole season without getting injured this time. What do you guys think about Nam?
I love Nam. I mean, I'm happy that he's back. I'm not sure how well he's going to do, just because I don't know if he has the strategic part of him. Like, he's just a very nice guy that's very athletic and very attractive. So I'm not sure how well he's going to do. I do think that he might need somebody to kind of guide him in the game, whether it's most likely a woman, maybe. So if it's a partner situation or partners every once in a while, that could be helpful for him. And I like to see how well he does. I don't know if I can call him like my winner pick, but I want to watch him on the show. So that's a good thing.
I think Nam is just somebody that you want to root for. Is just someone you want to see succeed, especially how you were saying, Chris, he had a raw deal last season with Lolo, with his back. I don't think anybody could say anything wrong with Nam. I mean, this is a majority of a cast that all the vets coming in played last season, so they are familiar with Nam, besides Amanda. But if they're all doing this veteran alliance, they all are going to be okay with them. I don't think he has that cutthroat ability, and so it's going to be interesting to see if he gets more seasons. Will that develop? Will he start to be like, okay, I know what I need to do? He gets a group going from season to season, and that he can trust, and then he can help. They can help him with the strategy of the game. So I like the pick because I want to root for Nam and see him go far and actually do well and succeed in the game. I really feel bad for him. I think he got one of the worst rookie seasons in a lot of challenge history. Is that one? I think it was one of the toughest ones to watch.
Oh, poor guy. Yeah, I want him to do well, so hopefully he does. But I don't know if it depends. It really depends, but I hope so.
All right, so I'm same. Fingers crossed. I really think he's a nice guy, and similar to you, Drew. I hope he becomes a staple. So, and I feel like he needs a big season. I think he's a bit lucky to get back on this season. To be honest, after the season he had, because he wasn't the biggest TV character when he was on the show.
Love him. I'm sure people tweeted at them being like, "Oh my god, I love Nam. Nam's so dreamy." Yes. People definitely were like, "Bring him back. Bring Nam back without Lolo." So.
No, 100%. All right, so I've got to go into the next female pick, and it's starting to become a little bit harder for me here to pick people. I kind of feel like I'm going to have to go with a newbie. I don't feel overly confident about the experience that is still on the board there, which I'm sure you guys will tell me why I'm wrong in regards to that. But I'm going to go for someone here that is from Big Brother Nigeria. And it's going to be Tacha Akide. I probably am pronouncing her name wrong. She was a massive, massive character in Big Brother Nigeria, and is also, I believe she's got over 1 million followers on Instagram, like close to like 1.5 million followers. She's become a bit of a celebrity over in Big Brother, or I guess in Nigeria as a whole after playing that season. She's known for having a very big personality. She's quite fiery. I think she's not going to stand back for anyone this season. And she could be someone that if firstly, I think the challenge was very smart in bringing her in to bring more viewers in the African region to the show, because MTV is also a big thing in Africa. And plus, being from South Africa originally, I have to kind of, root for an African that finally makes their way onto the challenge. And those are the reasons that I kind of went for her. I don't know how deep she's going to go. From what I've seen in the Big Brother, she's quite confrontational. So that could either work in her favor or not. But if we think back about Bailey when she was on the challenge not that long ago, people were kind of afraid of Bailey more than anything else. And I feel like she is way more than Bailey when it comes to that. Way more. This is going to be a next level of confrontation coming from her if people want to put her into the eliminations at any point. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I want to shout for her here at this point as well. What do you guys think of Tacha Akidi?
I don't know anything about her personally. I haven't done full-blown research on these newbies. I figured that like as the season gets closer, I'll just be hearing more and more about these people, and by the time the show starts, I'll be like, okay, I know everything I need to know about her. I didn't hear that she has a lot of followers, so that's why she was kind of brought into the show, but that worries me that she will not have like the physical capabilities to contend with this show. Big Brother's a little bit cushier, and Instagram influencers with lots of followers doesn't mean that it's going to translate to them being able to skydive and memorize color grids on the ground. So I don't know if her popularity is going to translate to her being a great player, but I definitely love the representation of having an African country. Like on this show, we don't really see that very often, other than Big T. I can't think of somebody off the top of my head that gravitates towards or having an African background specifically. So I think that the representation wise, that's pretty awesome. And I want to see how well she does. I just don't know if how they chose her to be on the show is going to warrant her being a really successful player competitively.
I'm very disappointed that I wasn't able to pick her, because I was going to pick Tacha on my next run. I got too lax in my picking. I let her go one too many rounds. I mean, I think she's one of the most oh my goodness, she has accomplished so much outside of reality TV. I mean, she is an icon. She is fantastic. I mean, out of everybody who's on this show, I mean, she really doesn't need to do reality TV. I mean, she can do whatever she wanted. She is going to be on the show. She is going to come in, and from the super trailer, she is just like locked in, ready to let anybody have it whenever they cross the line. She's the one I'm most anticipating to see and watch on the challenge. And the Titans are amazing. They've graced me with so much love and support throughout this off season. So I'm very disappointed that I was unable to get Tacha on my team. But to me, I think it's a great pick, and I just have so much respect for her for what she has been able to do outside of reality TV. So to me, I think it's a fantastic pick.
Was it her that Big T said that she wanted to kind of work with, and she was happy to see the representation from? Was it her that she was talking about?
It could be her. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was either Tacha or Priscilla or both. I think there was one point where in the promos, Kyle was talking about wanting Priscilla in for a UK alliance, and he tried to get her on there, and then Big T came on and was talking about representation. So I mean, I think they're both just fantastic, and happy to have them on the challenge and to see them compete. And yeah, I'm just really excited.
I'll love it. I'm excited to learn more about her, because I don't know anything about her. So thank you for giving me a little bit of a tidbit.
Really Yeah, really, really big in regards to what she's built outside, like Drew said, in regards to the business that she's involved with outside. I believe she's involved in, I forgot the name of the organization. It's like the Amazon of Africa, like really, really big. She's like pretty involved in that as well.
Okay.
So financially, she's super successful. She doesn't need to be on the challenge for the money. So
Well,
she's
I was
coming
thinking
on
that it was
this.
like a Fashion Nova like influencer. So this is definitely different than what I was anticipating with the person that they were choosing to be on the show. So I'm learning more every moment. So I'm here to see how she does. Absolutely.
Okay, so quick update on where we're sitting on with the draft picks. I believe that there's a limit on how many of these images I can get into it. And obviously, we haven't had a show on here before where there was that many people. So as I finally got the people on there that I needed to, so for Cal's, I believe your pick, Logan, is not in this at the moment, Drew. So we'll just keep a mental note that you've got Logan as well in your team, because I can't see the picture in the bottom there. But we'll just continue on with the rest of the picks as is, and we'll make a plan off air at some point on how we add that in there or Photoshop it in there. So you've got that person as well in your team.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. I can
We're
definitely
live.
remember
We're learning on
Logan
the
is
fly.
on my team. I can definitely remember that.
All right, so we're going to be going back to you for this next one, Drew. You're going to pick a female pick.
So I'm going to go back to the vets well, and I'm going to go for someone that I'm definitely rooting for, and that is Big T. She made it so far last season. I think she was really like blossoming into a really strong player last season. And I want to believe she's going to take that confidence, bring it into this season, and she's just going to demand screen time, demand the game. And I want to see her go very, very far and even make it into a final, because last season she was so close to making it to the final. I mean, she was on the doorstep, and with the edit, I was like for sure thinking she was gonna be in there. So I got to go with Big T.
Yeah, I love Big T, by the way. Like, I think she's such a great character. She had a massive, massive season, like you said, last season with CT as a partner. I love the episode of her going into the plane, doing something that was at, it was at a very, very high altitude that she had to go and jump off the plane, and she did it. She persevered because of the belief that CT had in her, and also because she wanted to prove something to herself. So for me, Big T is like an iconic character. I was going back and forth between Big T and my last pick as well. Like, the only issue that I have for Big T is I don't know if she takes the challenge serious enough yet. She didn't take it serious enough going into last season, in the sense that she would want to train for it to become more fit in her endurance and things like that. But I feel like last season was a really big sort of coming out season for her. So I would not be shocked or surprised at all if she comes into this next season fully prepared, ready to go, and we see a really, really big season from her here. While we're waiting for Chantal, because I believe she may have had some computer issues, we might as well have a look at some of the questions that's being asked here. We've had one here with Amber B is being shown on the trailer. Drew, we're aware that Amber B at some point will be coming into the season, but most likely, rumor in the Indo is that there will be an injury and she potentially may be one of the replacements, or she might be like some sort of a mercenary or something like that. Obviously, we're not going to pick Amber here because she's not in the preseason. She's not a part of the cast in the preseason. But how do you think Amber B will go with this cast if she does end up coming onto the show?
So yes, she comes into the show. I believe it's from an injury or a DQ of some sort, because she comes in like in a Lamborghini at the start of a challenge. So she's gonna come in. I think coming in as another champ only boosts the roster and the cast. I think she's gonna fit in well with the Vets Alliance. I know CT is gonna love her because they won last season. I think she's going to get a lot more screen time this season than last season. I think last season she really was like trying to stay underneath the radar. This season, coming in, having a season under her belt, being a champion, I think she's going to be that much more confident in her abilities, and we're going to see a lot more of her, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a big fan of Amber. I was really happy, and I thought it was such sweet justice that she became the first Big Brother player to win the challenge, because you've had, Fessy trying to be that person for so long. And prior to Fessy, you had Paulie coming on to the show, wanting to be the first person from Big Brother to win it. And the person who was the less try hard ended up actually getting it. And I just thought her relationship with CT in that final was amazing for a pair that didn't work together the whole season, to sort of link up at the end and just find out that they worked so well together was just amazing to see how they complemented each other. And also her relationship earlier in the season with Darrell, I thought was really heartwarming. And Darrell's a big omission from this season for me. I'm shocked we didn't see Darrell come back for this season. Is there any word in regards to why Darrell potentially wasn't up for this one? Or do you think it's maybe just because he thinks that All Stars is a potentially easier ticket for him because there's less time involved, that he needs to be away from his family?
So to talk about Amber and CT working together, I think getting that reassurance from Darrell, because when Darrell left or was going into that elimination, he said, work with CT. Like, no matter what, go with him, trust him. He'll have your back. So I think knowing that CT and all of his like veteran wisdom and stuff, she was just like, okay, I'll let you do your thing and you just try to keep up with my running. Darrell last season, so MTV has these things where you can see some more of like his final words and people's final words once they were eliminated. They like interview them, do an exit interview before they leave the crater. And he just talked about how that Double Agents was possibly his last main season of the challenge, because it's just the main season just takes way too long. He hates being away from his family for like 3 months. He's like, it's just way too long. And he got really teary-eyed. And also, All Stars starts up. It's like 2 to 3 weeks of filming. You could possibly win $500,000 or something, some ridiculous amount of money. And it's like, why wouldn't I want to do that? If the Challenge All Stars will keep on calling me back, I'll definitely do that. So to me, I think that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be able to compete, but on a shorter time limit to help him still be the family man that he wants to be.
Question here from Dan. What male and female rookie do you think is going to be the underdog this season? It's an interesting one. I feel like for the males, Emmanuel could be that person where he could be really good at the challenges, but potentially get thrown in there quite a lot because of that. You know, he could be like the Jay this season, where if he wins 1 or 2 early ones, they might just look at him as an easy vote to go down there and prove his stripes in quotation marks for the season. And that could become a little bit of a trend with him. And especially because of the fact, like, how the language barrier is going to affect some of these players is going to be interesting for me coming into the season. So many countries involved, so many different languages as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. I think we've got Chantal back here. Drew, if you want to take the female part of it, which female rookie do you think will be a big underdog this season?
There's so many really female rookies. I feel like all the rookies are underdogs, to be fair, because they have to prove themselves with these vets if they're going to be in a veteran alliance. I would say Bettina, possibly. I think she's coming in from Paradise Hotel, 2 seasons of that, and then also X on the Beach from her series and Country. I think she's going to come in, be a very, very big underdog. People are not going to know what to come from her, but I see her a decent amount. Like, to me, she's like a dark horse in the season that I feel like could do decent enough, given a good partner and some direction maybe to help her out. I mean, and also she said in quarantine she watched like 3 seasons back to back of the challenge, and she absolutely fell in love with the show. So to me, I'll root for anybody that says that they at least watched a few seasons and is a fan of the show.
Yeah, 100%. Chantal, welcome back. We haven't actually gotten into your pick as of yet because we've just been answering a few of the questions that were in the chat here while you were restarting your computer. So you have the next pick.
Yeah, no, I was listening to you guys like on my phone while I was out, so I knew where to come back in. So no problem. So I was thinking that I'm going to go with Bernie. So she's from Survivor Survivor Turkey. She's the person that played season 8, season 9, and I believe season 12. So that's somebody that's coming back to play the same type of social strategy game with a lot of physical, potentially physical abilities. So I'm hoping that she does really well. I haven't seen or heard that much about her, but I had her as like one of my top female picks from the rookie side. And I'm hoping that she does really well. I don't know her, but I have a lot of faith that she's going to be a powerhouse. So that's my pick.
Yeah, I mean, she's a friend of Turbo's. That's all I need to know.
Oh.
So that's all I need to know. I mean, she looks great. She looks fantastic. I was swapping back and forth between her and Emmy, and then her and Big T. I just felt like I wanted to get another vet in there if they are going to be working together, since I just picked 2 rookies in a row, and I don't want to get too rookie heavy here.
Yeah, that's fair. I think she's like, I mean, again, Survivor, you know, you've got to have the social game. You got to have the physical game. You're living out in the wild without any comfort, without any food. I mean, the challenge is going to be so comfortable for them. I remember a couple of seasons ago when they were in a bunker and they were complaining about it. You know, these guys get nothing. You know, they get no food. I can understand there's a different mental thing about being underground and you don't have windows and you can't see outside. That would probably mess with you as well. But I think the survivors still take the sort of cherry on the cake when it comes to suffering out there in the elements. So I think it's a good pick. And also, if she can get Turbo to come back, then I want her to go fast so she can convince him to come and play again, because I'm a big Turbo fan personally. So good pick overall there, Chantal. You've also got the next pick, which will be the male pick.
Yes, I think I'm going to go. Wait, am I going to wait? Now that you're saying, like, am I too rookie heavy? No, I don't have that many rookies. I just have Michelle.
No, you're good. You're good.
3 so
just
far.
Keep picking rookies.
Even? Oh, maybe I need to go back to. No, I'm going to go back to the vets, and I'm hoping that he does well. He gets pretty far. I talked about him before in support of Kells, and I'm going to take him now in support of himself. Yes, I am going with the snake himself, the new dad, the dad bod of the season. Yes, Kyle. He has a strategic mind for the game. He's actually very good. And I think that he might learn from the mistakes that he made in last season, and he might do better this season. Nobody's scared of Kyle. They're not scared of going down in elimination against him. They think he's a layup, but he still wins some of these times. So I think that it's great that he's not too scary, that people are going to try to get him out, but he might have to face elimination a couple of times, which is I'm scared for him for. So I'm hoping that he does well. I know that he's going to keep on coming back no matter what. So that's always fun. I just hope that he gets at least to the final this time around, but even a win would be even better.
I was going to say, you know, he's made 2 finals, so pretty impressive. Total Madness, I believe he was second place that season behind Bananas for the guys. So he actually beat Fessy in that final. So he's just got a machine on him, and he's got a massive heart. You know, like when it comes to doing challenges, like even that challenge against Fessy that he broke his finger in, like he wanted to continue to go. It was the medics who were like, no, listen, you've broken your finger here, you know? So I've got immense respect for anybody that is willing to go through that level of torture. And he seems to not feel pain, you know? So, and he, like you said, he's a big character, you know, who is going to be the next big snake, the person everybody loves to hate or just love in general. Like I personally love him. I think he's a great character. I wanted to pick him a little bit earlier on, and I was in 2 minds about picking him prior to picking Nam. I do think he's got a good game and a really good awareness of where the moves should be made. The problem that I have is he gets talked out of doing those moves by his partners far too often. Like there was a few times last season where he wanted to take the hit, take certain people out because he knew it would be good for his game, but he was talked out of it. And you know, he's got this reputation of being the snake and this bad guy, but he actually is a great partner, and he does probably listen to his partner too much. He becomes like the 2IC in most of these partnership relationships that he works in. So he needs to have a very strong female partner in this season that can run the strategy side of it, because if he's going to defer his strategy to someone else, then they need to be on point. In fact, Michelle might be a very good partner for him if they were to get paired up in the season, because Michelle is strategically very good. She's socially very good. He's got the experience as a vet. He's pretty good physically, but she's good with her puzzles. I think they could potentially be a very good pairing if he could pair up with someone like that in this season.
Yeah, I think Kyle is a strong pick. He got in the finals in Total Madness. I don't really see him doing anything wrong last season. I just think the only thing that was bad about his game was that he didn't win the final mission.
Oh, bro. Oh, that one.
To stay out of the elimination. He's the smallest guy. He was gonna get picked no matter who was going to be thrown in. Like he was just going to be the guy that they were going to throw in. So the other players like Leroy and CT could stay in the game and make it to the finals. I mean, he was going to be the scapegoat no matter what. So I think he played a really good last 2 seasons and see what he can do. He's starting to grow on me. Last season, he was growing on me. I wasn't a huge fan of him in the beginning of his career on the challenge.
Is it because it was tainted by Kara?
Maybe it was. There was a lot of fights that were happening within those trios early on, and I was just like, I'm totally done with this. Like, cut your hair and get off of these like drama, and let's see. Talk to me then. And he's actually grown on me a lot. So I think it was a good pick.
Yeah, same. I didn't care for him too much in the early stages. And my first season that I watched was Final Reckoning, and I thought he was a douche because I was seeing everything through Kara's eyes, right? So because she was the narrator in most of those instances, so I had to go back and see where he started after that, and sort of work my way back. But similar to you, Drew, I only became a big fan of his probably in the last 2 seasons. He started to grow on me quite a lot. But I think that the show needs someone like that, and the fact that he's willing to come back season after season, that's positive. And he's still quite young. I think he's only 28, which I was quite surprised when I saw that because I thought he was already in his 30s, to be honest.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so he could be around for a while still. I believe you're next, Drew, with the next male pick.
I'm going to go with somebody that I think is underrated, but I see them in the trailer quite a bit. And I'm going to go with Corey. L.
Okay. I
couldn't get Corey, so I'm getting the other Corey. Yeah, I think he looks strong. I once he was rumored to be on the cast, I stalked his Instagram. He looks very fit. And yeah, he's just somebody like on Twitter I follow, and I like everything that he tweets. So I'm just like, yeah, I like you as a person. He talked about how he was a fan of the challenge. So he's just somebody that I kind of just want to see how they do, and I want to root for him.
He's got previous football experience similar to Fessy from what I saw. So I don't know if he played D1 or anything like that, but clearly he must be pretty athletic and a bit undercover. I didn't know much about him either. I know he's from that 12 Dates of Christmas series, which is again a live show that I didn't see. And I wasn't going to come in here necessarily picking all the love show people first. So he wasn't the highest person on my list, but he could be that undercover person this season as well. And apparently he's got a really big personality. So look forward to seeing that.
Ding. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about him. I did see that he was a football player. So I was thinking that I'd pick him maybe in one of the next couple of guys. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know anything about him. I haven't seen the show that he was on, so this would be a blind pick for me as well. So
all right, so I believe I'm going in with the next guy pick, and I am going to go for Tommy Sheehan at this point. I do feel like at some point I got to take him off the board here. I lost on Michelle. I don't want to lose on Tommy as well. From what I understand,
I was taking him next.
That's brilliant timing then. So from what I understand with Tommy and what I've heard through the grapevine, he's a massive fan of the challenge. Even prior to playing on the show, he was a fan. He watched the seasons. He knew what he was getting himself into coming into this show. The fear that I have for Tommy was that on his original Survivor season, he wasn't the challenge beast. He wasn't the person that was probably the most physically dominant. It was his right hand man, DK Chilling, Dean, who is not on this season. I think Dean would be a very good challenge potential contender. I don't know if he wants to do it. He's got a pretty respectable job, or he used to have a pretty respectable job for Google. So I don't know if he'll necessarily want to jump on doing this. But Tommy, he's someone that's good socially. He's very undercover. Not a big personality, so I don't know how that's going to translate to the challenge at all. But as a winner of Survivor, when he first won his season, there was a lot of other controversies around that season that kind of tainted that in the minds of the Survivor public when they viewed that. And I think it kind of tainted his win a little bit as a result of that. But the more you look back at his win now, and if you were to go watch that season again, he's really an old school Survivor winner in a new school game. He didn't win the show with immunity wins, with advantages or anything like that, but he won it based on a very good strategic mind and a very strong social game. So if he can get those things right, he's good. the problem is, will anybody look at him and think he's a younger Wes? And then, he kind of looks like him a little bit. He's either a bit younger, got a bit of beard game for sure. But, is that going to put a target on him here early in the game? But I do like the fact that there's a lot of Survivor players. Michelle's there. I know Michelle and him, they're both good friends outside of the game. So potentially could be a bit of an undercover person here coming into the season.
Yeah, I like Tommy as a pick for right now. I didn't particularly love him as the winner of his season. I was rooting for Lauren. Were we talking about I feel like I've talked to both of you guys about Lauren before. Anyways, I was rooting for Lauren more so than Tommy to win that particular season. So I think he was going to do decently well. I like the fact that, as you said, that there's a lot of Survivor people and they know how to play a social strategic game. So they're not going to be sitting around like waiting to figure out how to play. They're going to automatically be like, okay, who do you want to work with? Like, let's get our team together. Let's get a group together. Let's get a voting block, whatever it is. They're immediately going to take action. And so I like that the game is going to start for them from the beginning while they're learning how to figure out while they're learning how to play the challenge. So I'm interested to see how well he does. I can see people throwing him in because he doesn't look too physically competitive. And I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of was thrown in like Jay. But I do feel he's taller than Jay, but I can see him be thrown in often.
Yeah. And like you said about the West comparison, I mean, in a promo, Ashley talks about him being like a West, like looking like a West. And she's going to keep her eye on him. So, I mean, I feel like, yeah, he's going to be someone to look at and see how he does in challenges and who his partner could be and how they can move and groove in the game. I think he's a good late round pick in this draft.
Great. Okay,
Absolutely.
so my next pick, I believe it's going to be a female pick. And I'm going to go and I'm going to continue to represent for Africa here. And I'm going to get Esther as my next pick from also Big Brother Nigeria. I'm not too sure if she was in the same season as the other Big Brother Nigeria house guest here. But one of the things that stood out for me when I did a little bit of homework on her, again, very explosive. So probably a big personality coming into the season, but she also won quite a few challenges. She actually had 2 HOH wins in her season. So she was someone that could win HOHs as well as do really well in the strategic game. And Big Brother Nigeria, I believe they're pretty close to like 30 people casts when they do those seasons. She lasted for about 64 days. She was like mid-cast there in that season as well. So I don't think that she potentially could be targeted pretty early on, but I still feel like her and having another alliance member there as well, being from the same sort of season, from the same continent, potentially could work well for them. The flip side to that is that if they don't, if the Big Brother Alliance doesn't take them in, the American Big Brother Alliance, and they kind of target any of the new Big Brothers, and they kind of want to make sure that there's not too much numbers on the Fessy, Josh, Casey side of things when they play the game, they could potentially be targeted pretty early on as well. But I don't have much to go on when it comes to these newbies, to be fair with you. So I'm kind of going and I'm sort of trying to stay Africa strong at this point, and really anybody that's from Africa playing this season is going to have my full support.
Yeah, I don't know anything about her, and you've told me the most that I know about her right now. So I hope that she does well. I love the representation, as I've mentioned already. And I like to see how she plays. But I have no idea, no clue.
One thing I can say is that watching the trailers, she is featured, I think, in a couple of shots in different missions. And also, I think at some point she's going to be partnered up with Fessy. So that's a good thought of like possibly they could work well together and possibly maybe put a string of wins together. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a really good pick. She was definitely going to be someone I considered picking in my next pick.
Yeah, she's physically, she looks really fit. I think she can do extremely well from that stance. And also, let's not forget, I know it's something that probably is a bit underestimated. Growing up in Africa, it's not for the weak. You get pretty strong people growing up in African countries. A lot of these countries are third world. You have to fight for your space in life. It's a daily struggle. So growing up in that environment, she probably is going to have a much more mature head on her shoulders and used to pressure a lot more than people that are not used to being in those pressure cooker situations. Not that I'm saying that growing up in Africa will definitely prepare you for the game of the challenge, but I do think it will definitely count in her advantage. And like I said, Africa represent, African proud. So hoping that she can go pretty well in this specific season of the challenge and that we see more of her going forward. I believe we're back to you now, Drew, with the next female pick.
I'm going to go with somebody that we mentioned earlier on, and that's going to be Priscilla from Love Island Series 6. Series 6 was a great season of Love Island for the most part. Her and Mike were like the driving force, almost getting to the finals there. Yeah, she I think is physically fit. She's very tall for some compared to the other women in the house. I think she's somebody that I'm definitely rooting for. I want to see go very far into the game and be a regular, because I think with her and Kel's talking in the trailer and talking about how focused and serious they are about wanting to take and do well in the game, like, to me is like, yes, this is what I've been wanting from rookies, and to like be just staples in the challenge. So I'm really rooting for her. I loved her, like I said, on her Love Island series, and I want to see her do well and come back for many, many seasons. And also Big T talked very highly of her, and Kyle said he wanted to get her in a UK alliance. So, I mean, to me, that's like, she's a hot commodity, and people are wanting to work with her.
I feel like Kyle says that every season, doesn't he? He always wants to get the UK alliance going, but it doesn't seem like he can ever actually get them to work together.
Any way to get numbers on his side is the way Kyle is trying to view it. Like, let's get a man alliance. Let's get a UK alliance. Let's get a vet alliance. Let's get an international alliance. Any way to get him in the majority and in the nucleus.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, I liked Priscilla. She was dating this guy Mike. They dated for a pretty long time outside of Love Island. I love their coupling. Like I really, really liked her. And so I don't know how well she's going to do on this game, but I like seeing that she's coming on to this show. I guess anytime I've seen seasons that people have been on, I'm more likely to be interested in seeing them as a rookie on a show that like I love. And so I'm really excited to see how well she does. I hope that her and Kells get some sort of alliance going. I would love for a UK alliance to get together and kind of overtake the Big Brother alliance or overtake the veterans or whatever it is. I do want to see some sort
Survivor
of
alliance.
or come against the Survivor alliance. Absolutely. But I just like that she has numbers that she can kind of go into. Like she has people that she can pull. And so I think that she could potentially do really well. And I'm here for it.
I don't have anything additional to add to Priscilla at all. This is where my knowledge of we're going to start seeing my knowledge of these newbies become thinner and thinner as we continue on through the podcast at the moment. But I like the fact that she's got some connections in the show that I've learned in this podcast. And I think that having connections is going to definitely be beneficial coming into this game. You need numbers, and especially in a game where you've got people who've been playing with each other for 3 to 6 seasons already. A lot of these newbies are coming in with a massive disadvantage in that sense. So I believe we're moving to you now, Chantal, with your next female pick.
Well, now I see Sam in the chat is wondering like why we haven't picked Michaela yet. But if Drew is saying that Michaela goes against Michelle in some sort of elimination, I'm worried to take both of those people because then I know that I'm going to be losing one. So I already have Michelle, and I think that I want to keep my a little bit padded with my my vets, and I'm going to take Nani. Nani I think she might have broken her I can't get to a final, I'm always eliminated, whatever she was whining about last season. I'm hoping that she broke that narrative, and now she's like, okay, I know that I can get to a final, now I need to win again, or not again, but like get to the final and win. And so I hope that this is her season. I hope that she learned a lot from, double agents and knowing what it feels like to get to a final again, and that she can do it. And her being kind of canoodling with Casey, I think is also going to be really good with maybe her having someone rooting for her. Like she needs to have somebody, a little bit of a cheerleader. She does well when she has that kind of support. And so I'm hoping that Casey can be that support for Nani and help get her at least to the final again. And I would love to see a Nani win. She's been doing this for a while, and I think she's due for one as well.
Yeah, listen, Nani, 11 seasons, 2 finals, a lot of daily wins, 24 daily wins, 13 eliminations. She's not great. She's not great in eliminations. I will say that 13 out of the 13 eliminations, she's only won 4 of them. But she's got the connections. She's in with the new players, the new kids on the block. And having Casey there as well as someone that potentially becomes a romantic interest for her this season, I think that it's going to bode really well for her in the game. So I think Nanny could do pretty well. It's someone that I just wouldn't go in early on the draft because I don't think she'll ever win. But listen, we're starting to get to the pointy end here now of the show, so I fully appreciate the fact that you're going to go with what you know rather than what you don't know. And to be honest, the only thing that kept me from voting for her earlier was my African pride and wanting to, vote for the 2 African queens that are playing this season. Otherwise, I probably would have put her a little bit higher. So hats off to you for picking her in this spot.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really strong in the season, if there is no skull twist, is that it just helps Nani out a ton. If she can pull like a free agents type of thing and not see an elimination, then she is golden. I think she's coming in with a lot of protection with, say, some of the vets like CT. She's making out with Casey, so she has Casey and the Big Brother Alliance, especially being friends with Josh and everything. Also, Nani is getting this like red carpet treatment from the challenge that she has not gotten throughout her whole career. I mean, she is the Twitter profile picture. She is on the poster. She is on the live aftermath. She is featured heavily in the trailer. She is like heading the veteran alliance for them to stick together. So she's being put out there a lot, and I'm happy to see it. I mean, she deserves it. She's put in like 11 seasons. So I mean, let her have her moment here with looking good. So I think there's a lot going for her if the challenge is really putting her picture everywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's getting kind of stiff here, but I think I'm going to go with a rookie that I know, and that is going to be Jeremiah. So Jeremiah is from Love Island season 2 from the US. He's a tall, handsome man, Southern man, athletic. I don't know if he's like super athletic, but he's fit. He's going to have a lot of people from Love Island, so that could be another little sub alliance. So like him, Lauren, Priscilla are all from Love Island. There's another person that I don't know them from another Love Island type show, but I think that those type of shows might all get together, like all like the love dating shows. Maybe they'll come together with like some sort of alliance. So, and he wants to be part of Team Young Bucks. We saw on Aftermath, I think Nelson was saying that like Jeremiah, he's like, the rookie with a lot of heart. He really wants to play. He really wants to get in with like the cool young bucks, like wants to be hanging out with them. And not in that necessarily that they should be who he aspires to be, but they do get called back every season and they do decently well every season. So it's not a bad goal to have and numbers and be like, hey, let me be part of you. Like I want to be in your crew. So I think if they bring him under his wing, he has a lot of numbers potentially, and he looks like he's willing to learn how to play the game, and he wants to be there. So I'm gonna give Jeremiah a go.
Drew, any thoughts on Jeremiah?
Yeah, I mean, he was somebody that I was gonna probably pick next round. So this coming up pick, I would have picked him if he was still on the board. He didn't last too long on Love Island US. And he wasn't featured heavily until this final super trailer, and in some of the promos, he was finally being shown in some of the rounds. One promo, CT said that he was a good kid, and that was it. And then Ashley came up right behind him and said that Jeremiah is nice and has a Southern accent, but she doesn't think he's cut out for the challenge. So I was like, okay, so I think it's good to pick him around this area of the draft. I definitely would have picked him though this coming up pick if he was left on the board.
Well, I'm wondering though if they said that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, physically he looks really in shape. I mean, I've never seen Love Island, so this is where you guys are so far ahead of me. I've got no idea what his personality is like or anything like that, but he was talking a big game in this last bit of promo, because I actually did see that promo where he was saying, he really wants to take the challenges on, and he's there for that and that type of thing. So he's talking a big game in that sense. I'm hoping that he does do well, because he's 23. We've got to look at the future of the challenge. We want the challenge season 55 to be there, so for that to happen, we need these young players to come in and do well so that we can create that next generation. He could be the next Leroy. Leroy, when he started, he was about 23, wasn't he, when he did his first season? So we need somebody at that age to come in and sort of get into the show and hopefully do well. So I'm hoping that he lasts for a while. Some of our favorites that's been around for a while, they're not going to be there forever. And that's why they're bringing all these different shows. They're bringing people on. It's just whenever it comes to the love shows, I'm completely out. I don't watch them. I've got no idea what they're about. So, but I think just looking at his physical ability, from what I can see, he looks like he's in shape.
Well, what I was going to comment on before was that I'm wondering if the reason why they said that he's not cut out for this show is because of this little moment that I just saw when I was scrolling through. And so that's him and Amber B. And so maybe it's like he gets invested in like the love part of it. And it's like, get your head out of love, get your head back in the game. Maybe that's what they're commenting on, that he's maybe swayed easily by a pretty girl. As opposed
Listen,
to,
it's Amber B.
winning.
It's Amber B. Let's be real. Every guy would be swayed.
Gorgeous. I'm not saying. I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but
but I'm wondering if that's what they were commenting on. You know.
Yeah, could be
100%. Yeah. So, Drew, your next with your next male pick.
Okay. I'm really going back and forth. I feel like maybe I should pick the vet and pick Josh. I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna pick Josh. Get him on my team. Yeah, he's a vet. He's coming in. He's got some big brother protection. If there is a vet alliance, he's gonna be protected. Him and Devin are now cool, so there's not gonna be any fighting there. But we'll see how it goes. I'll just pick him.
Listen, all I'm going to say is mission accomplished. I came in here saying I'm not picking Fessy. I'm not picking Josh. But I will say one thing. If you didn't pick him here, I probably would have picked him in the next round. Because, I mean, let's be real. The guy's going to last. He's got a good social game. As icky as I feel when I say that, you know, like, I mean, he's got good networks with the guys that are in there. He's been around for long enough now that I think he's finally going to start being seen as one of the vets in the show. They probably will still say the Big Brother Alliance, even though, you know, they've been in way more the challenge seasons now than what they've ever done in the Big Brother being only in one season. You know, at the end of the day, the guy, he's working really hard on his physical appearance as well, like, and being more fit and athletic. Like, I've seen him doing workouts with Rachel, I believe, from the challenge and in the off season, and working extremely hard on being ready for the season. I think he is really a big competitor who wants to win the show. The one thing about Josh, though, is no matter how fit he gets, there's something about the whole thing about when you get extremely fit, but you just don't have natural athletic ability. You know, as when people say popcorn muzzles, all that kind of stuff. No matter how fit he gets, he's still the goof. He's still someone that's going to go out there and be clumsy and not do things so well in the challenges at times. And I just don't think he's got a natural athletic ability. But he's going to go deep in the game. And I will say one thing. If he lasts long enough in the show where one day he finally wins the show, potentially, you know, if that ever happens, I don't know if I should put that out in the universe, he would have gone through the ringer for it. He would have gone through the ringer for it because he's had to work on himself. Like, he's not the same person he was season one when he came into this. You know, like, he's actually working, like, he's working on bettering himself in regards to getting more fit and things like that. He does need to work on being less of a douche sometimes in the show, though. That's the one thing I'll say. But it's probably what got him called back every single time, you know? Because him picking that fight with Jay last year, that just rubbed me the wrong way because Jay was doing nothing to him. And he just created that fight from nothing, you know? And yeah, I'm glad I dodged it, but I probably would have picked him next.
I don't know if I would have picked him in the end because they're not doing points for drama. So I don't know if I would have ended up taking him. But he does get, the producers like what he brings. I'm not sure why. I don't get it. I did see one producer saying, like, I just love Josh. I have a soft spot for him. And I'm just like, it's you. It's you that keeps bringing him back. Like, leave him off my TV screen. Even on the aftermath, they're kind of making fun of him a little bit. They had him in sitting for a dunk tank. And so like they're waiting to like get the commenters to answer some questions so that we can dunk him in water. So he's leaning into the fact that he's not very well liked. But I'm just like, can't you just lean into being liked? Like, I would just rather you be leaning into being like a really likable, good guy that's like maybe he gets taken advantage of. And so he's always the underdog and we are rooting for him. But like, I don't know. I don't particularly enjoy the character that he's decided to bring onto the show. But I don't think I would have taken him. He drives me too crazy. But
I think it's PG drama that they like. I think that's what they're going for. As older seasons of the show, they really wanted to lean into the fights, lean into the like getting into angry. Like if you see CT yelling and coming at you, you're worried. You're worried for somebody's safety. But with Josh coming at you and him being angry that somebody just yells, Big Brother sucks. I mean, that's the kind of drama I think they want to push up, because it's like, he's not going to hit anybody. He's just going to go around. He might shove somebody. He might get in their face. But I mean, we can hold him back and he's not going to really fight back, kind of thing. So I think that's the kind of drama that they like to bring up on the show. And they're just like, at least it's drama that's on the show. People should like it. But it's not the drama that we're used to and that we love, but it's there.
Yeah, 100%. I am gonna have to pick the next guy here, and I am gonna go for Yui, my next pick. He played in Big Brother UK. He says that he's potentially going to be underestimated because he's a gay makeup artist coming into the show, but he's got years of experience as being a competitive boxer. So that's a little bit of an undercover trick that I think is up his sleeve. Now, if you know anything about boxing or any type of martial arts in general, you've got to be used to being in the arena, somebody coming at you wanting to take your head off. If it's competitive, whoever he's fighting against is going to try and knock his head off. And you get a certain adrenaline rush from being in the arena that I think is going to be transferable to being in the arena in the challenge if you get thrown into an elimination. Because I feel like some of these people who've never gone head to head with someone where it's a do or die, they're just not used to how they feel. And people either go in fight or flight when they have that adrenaline come on them. So I think having that kind of experience coming into this, you might look at him and say, oh, yeah, Big Brother UK guy. I don't know how he sounds when he speaks, but sometimes with being a gay makeup artist, maybe he's going to be quite flamboyant. Like, people might underestimate him. They might not think he's as much of a threat as he potentially could be in the game. So I'm going to go for him here. I think he's a potential undercover achiever. What do you guys think of Yui?
I don't have any thoughts. I mean, I love Big Brother UK. It's different than Big Brother US and Canada in the sense that it's an audience vote as opposed to the strategic element of the house vote. And I don't know if I see it in his season because I don't remember him at all. I like your point that he used to be a boxer, so I didn't know that, and so that would make me more interested to see how well he might do, because he's going to be agile. He's going to be quick on his feet. So he might be good at some of these random challenges that they throw onto them. I have no real reference as to how, I don't even know how he talks. I haven't seen his mannerisms or anything like that. So I really would be going blindly here with him as a pick. But we're kind of at the end here, and pretty much everybody that's left, I have no idea who they are.
Apparently partnered with Ashley for the season, so maybe could be. I didn't know that, so thanks for letting us know, Sam. So it might be a little bit of an undercover good partnership there. But we know that people will be able to steal partners this season, or we think that's what's going to happen if it's sort of based on the previous theme. So who knows if they'll actually end up being together for the whole season. What do you think of Yui Drew? Any opinions there on him, or pretty light on the information as well when it comes to him?
I have very little to none information. The only thing I've heard somebody talk about Huey was Devin in the Meet the Rookies, or not the Meet the Rookies, but like First Impressions. And he talked about Huey having what I feel the philosopher Cisco says, dumps like a truck. And yeah, that's all so that's all I know about him.
Does that mean he has a big butt or something else?
Yeah, so it means he can squat.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. All right, so I think that it's back to me here with the next female pick. And I am really in two minds, but I feel like I have to go with Anissa at this point, being the only experienced person still left on the board. We all know the story of Anissa. She's been in the record amount of eliminations. She's probably won and lost the most, as it's pretty 50-50, but she's got the experience of going down there. She's got really good relationships in the house with people that she's played this game with for years and years and years. Do I think that Anissa is going to win the game? No. But do I want to shout for her and have her in my team this season? Yes. So this is a hard pick. I don't have many veterans in my team now that I look at it up until this point. So I do need to add a veteran into the show here. How do you guys feel about Anissa coming into this season? Quite a short turnaround from All-Stars going into this season as well.
I mean, clearly this is her job now. Just coming back to back, probably getting an appearance fee, and then however many weeks she stays there, she's probably getting some money. So I'm happy that she's here. I mean, I hope we keep on saying that we want her to do well. We don't want her story to be like, I can't get to the end. I'm always cut right before the end. So she's changed that. She's ran a final now. So hopefully her and Nani, both of them will have a new narrative that they're going to be pushing for their game. It's like, okay, I've been to a final now. Now I got to win. Like, hopefully it's the winning strategy, wanting to win. One thing we've always been complaining about Anissa is that she comes back onto these shows in worse shape than she was the year before, when she should be getting in better shape than she was the year before.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she's physically gotten herself into the place where she can compete against these people that played Survivor that are 10 years her junior or more, 15 years her junior. I hope.
And
that
guilt
she
tripping
does.
is not a good strategy. Guilt tripping is not a good strategy because you always use the guilt trip. No one wants to partner with me. They just don't want to give me a shot. No, you do need to also make sure you're someone physically in shape that people want to work with in a competitive reality show, such as The Challenge. So I feel like she needs to take a little bit of ownership there as well. So I agree with you.
So I'm hoping that you put in some work. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that Anissa, along with Chantel, saying that she's coming in for an appearance fee. But I mean, once she got hooked up with the Challenge official Challenge podcast, I knew like her and Tori were gonna have like an open end ticket on every single season because they need the inside scoop, they need the behind the scenes, they need to like be on at least a few episodes, and then if for some chance they both get out early or something to that effect, then they can bring in some of the cast members and they at least have some rapport with them since they were on the show with them at some point. So yeah, I mean, she's a vet, she's coming in. I think this is a ripe time to pick her. So yeah, definitely good choice.
I couldn't let it slide for her to be like the last pick or in that last bracket. I feel like but even to be in that last draft coming into this season, like in the last 3 women, like I just have too much respect for the fact that she's been doing this for as long as she has. Like I need to pick her and take her out of the equation here. So we're going to be moving back to you, Drew, with you're going to start with the last females, I believe. Here you're going to be picking a female.
I really want to pick Michaela. I really do. Like out of these last 4, I really want to pick Michaela. I just worry that it's going to be early on that she's going to be pitted up against Michelle. So I want to go with Bettina, actually.
Okay.
And sorry about that. I want to go with Bettina. I see her in a few more shots. I think she's partnered up with Corey, which I think is a good omen. So that is Tracy.
Was that Tracy? You helped me with this one.
Pink
Is that
dress.
Bettina there?
Yeah, pink dress.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Bettina. And she said she was a fan of the challenge from being in quarantine, watching the challenge on Paramount Plus, I'm sure of. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bettina.
All right, Chantal.
I don't know anything about her. Just from what you've said, I think that she's going to bring some drama because the shows that she's been on has been like X on the Beach and was it Paradise Hotel? Like these are kind of like love shows, but that have a lot of drama with them. I watch them, but like it's not very socially and strategic at all. So I think that she might bring some drama to the show. And so I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for her, but I'm here to see how she does. But I really don't have any other reference points other than like maybe she's going to be a drama stir, pot stir.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of experience when it comes to the amount of seasons that she's played in, like almost 10 different seasons of different Paradise and Hotel, X on the Beach. I've got no idea of any of those shows. I believe they're all love type of shows, romantic shows, the ones that I don't normally personally watch myself, but I do think that you're probably going to have her be quite good socially. Potentially she'll be good with the guys in the house coming from those love shows. The problem is she going to focus on the wrong things in the challenge? I understand why they cast people like this because it brings that whole drama, the potential of a romance blooming on the show, and that's exciting for a big demographic of the people that actually do watch the challenge and enjoys it. For me personally, I lean more towards who's actually going to be physically able to go and win the challenges and who's going to be really good strategically. So I don't know how she's going to do with that, but we are going into the pointy end here of the pick, so I don't think it's a bad choice. I understand your reasoning for not going for Michaela at this point as well, so fair enough. Chantal, I think you're next with the next female pick.
Well, man, it's so brutal, but who? Okay, so sorry, that is the second person there. That's Lauren, and then Michaela, and who's that last person?
Tracy.
Who's Tracy?
She won Love
Tracy.
Island Germany on her season.
Tracy. So it's Love Island, and Survivor. I mean, usually I would go for Michaela, but I just don't feel. I don't feel good about her this season, like in this game. I haven't heard a lot of talks about her. There's been no buzz around Michaela being on the show at all, which is worrisome. Everybody else has gotten a little bit of like press.
It's not supposed to be easy when you get down to the last three here, Chantal. It's going to be tough. It's why they're the last three.
I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go with the person that I know. That's Michaela. I'm sorry, you're probably gonna be left undrafted here. I feel really bad, but I'm gonna take Lauren. Lauren's from Love Island, so she will know potentially Jeremiah. They weren't on the show at the same time, but I'm sure they did a lot of after show press and stuff like that together, seeing each other maybe at parties or Zoom calls or whatever they did in this last year since they were both featured on that show. She's, we see she does a lot of like thirst trapped kind of pictures on Instagram and stuff like that, but she works out. She likes having a good body. So I'm hoping that, she's going to be physically fit and that she's going to be agile and being able to move really well. And she's been on a love show, so maybe she's going to find a love interest that can pair up with her, and they might be able to move together in the season. So I don't really know that much about her as a competitive kind of person in that kind of show, like the challenge. I think though she likes reality TV. And so she's going to do whatever she can to be good at the show or do well in the show so she can be called back, because I think she wants to make her money doing these type of things. So I'm going to go with Lauren, see how well she does. She might be a layup. Yeah. I don't know.
I honestly know nothing about her. It's just, she wants to win with charming people. Is what I wrote down my notes on her, and similar to the previous pick as well. I don't know how well it's going to go on the challenge. It might make for some exciting TV, but I don't know if she's going to do well in this specific show. But that's the thing about the challenge; they can't just pick all physically dominating athletes. People don't want to just see athletes go into the show; they want to see a little bit of the romance and the sloppiness and the drama and all of that as well. So she's got a place in the show. Will she win it? I don't know. I think probably quite rightfully she's in the bottom bracket here for us. Drew, any thoughts?
So Lauren is the only person I haven't seen anything of. Nobody has talked about her. She's not in any promos. She is not in the super trailer or the trailer. I've only seen her in her cast photo. And that is super worrying, because before the super trailer, I was like, her and Renan are like the two that I don't see at all. But Renan was featured in the super trailer a couple of times.
He made the toast, right?
So Lauren is like at the moment the one person I don't see at all. Not even like dressed up coming into the house. Nothing.
Maybe she's one of the people that get hurt.
Maybe, but yeah, I don't see her at all. She's like the one person that I just don't see it.
Oh no!
I don't know if that's true. Let's hope not. Yeah, we don't know. Just for you guys in the live chat, we have got zero info. We want to stay spoiler free as well. That's why we're picking these off the top of our head, spoiler free. We've got no idea what happens on the show, but that's really sad to hear if that is the case, and disappointing, and would explain why she wouldn't get any content or any promo stuff as well. Because
so maybe they kept her on a show for a little bit for like kind of like the D situation, but taking her out of like any promo shots or whatnot until she's eliminated. Maybe it's that kind of scenario, like cut her storyline, but just keep her in it as long as she's in it, but cut her out.
Yeah, disappointing. All right, who do you have coming up next here, Chantal?
Oh shoot, I have another guy, don't I? So who's left? We have Renan.
We've got an uneven number here. We've got an uneven number here, so I feel like we probably should open it up. Drew, if you're okay with that, to either male or female. If you're open to it, Drew, because you're the person who's going to go after Chantal.
I was about to say, could I pick Michaela here? Because I don't know. I don't know if I want to be stuck with anybody else after this after this round,
Okay,
after this
I'm
pick.
gonna-
So it doesn't make a difference. So I guess Chantal, you can choose either or, male or female at this point.
Michaela. No, just kidding. I'll pick a guy. Still. So we said it's Gabo, and what's the other person's name?
Renan.
Renan.
Yep.
And where's Renan from?
X on the Beach. He played twice on X on the Beach.
That's just
Dutch,
drama.
I believe.
That's boring drama, but I like that he says in some clip that I saw, let's keep the rookies together. So hopefully that means that he has a little bit of a mind of like the gaming part of it. So I'm gonna go with Renan. Let's see what happens there. A little bit of Renan.
Yep.
Damn it.
I don't know
would've
anything
picked
about him,
Michaela
to be
over
honest.
Lauren, if that's the case. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I noticed that Renan was in quite a lot of talk shows and things like that in Netherlands, and seems to be a bit of a celebrity over there as well. So probably another person that they brought in for the viewers and the numbers potentially from Europe. He seems to be quite well followed in Netherlands, but that's pretty much as I know about him. Like he, again, dating show, similar archetype to quite a few other people. I kind of feel like probably going to be a layup. Sadly, it's what I feel like. I don't know if you, Drew, have got a little bit more information or if you're thinking differently. I mean, it's not supposed to be easy at this point, right?
He is one of the contestants that when I did my rumor video early on, when there was a lot of talks, that there was someone who came into my DMs and gave me a huge paragraph on his backstory, and he is such a big character. They were telling me that he's very comedic. I kind of got the feeling like it was like a Kyle situation, that he was like very comedic, very much a ladies' man coming into doing it. He likes to stir up a lot of drama. And he was just such a big character on his season of X on the Beach during his seasons. So it got me excited to see him. And then he wasn't featured in any of the trailer, but he was in a good amount of the super trailer here and there. So I was like, cool. But then we see him in an elimination with Michelle and Michaela. And it's like, oh no, like, when is that happening? Yeah. Hopefully we can see some of them. But yeah, I think it was a good idea to go for him.
It's more than what we know. So
I'm worried about my last three. Like my last three picks are going to be like.
You're not competitive at all, Chantal. It's good to see. Chantal she is the reigning challenge draft pick champion.
Oh, did I win last season? So I can't remember.
She's got a crown to defend. She's got a crown to defend. So
exactly.
So I shouldn't have let her go first, is what you're telling me.
To be honest, I
should have given you the update.
I wanted to go second, so that's good. So. I think the first spot is the hardest spot.
For sure.
Easily, I'm going to be going for Michaela here. I'm glad I got both Bettina and Michaela. Gabo is such a huge hulking man that I wanted to pick him, but just nothing is compelling me to like jump into the Gabo like excitement party. And Michaela, I wanted to pick her. Not seeing her a ton in any of the trailers makes me worried. Seeing her being featured in elimination more than being in other challenges on the season worries me. But I'm happy that I at least got to pick her on my team and have this array of teammates on Team Drew. So I'm happy that she's on my team and I was able to pick her.
Yeah, so Michaela, for me, loved her on Survivor. Such a great character. She was actually quite physically capable from what I remember in the challenges and stuff that in Survivor as well. And, just loved the fact that she was so authentic and that she, that rivalry between her and Jay betraying her and her looking back at Jay saying, was it you? And Jay owning up to it was so great. And not being able to hide her emotions on her face. I remember that being a really big part of the storyline on the seasons that she was playing as well. And then her coming back and having that great relationship with Suri, who was like an idol kind of to her as well, playing the game, which I thought was so brilliant. I think she's got all the tools to do well. But similar to you guys, I'm nervous for her. We haven't seen much of her. I haven't followed a lot of the preseason stuff. but I'm not spoiled on the season whatsoever. But the one thing I kind of heard is that she potentially is out early. And that's the only thing that I heard through the grapevine. So because of that, I came in a little bit biased against picking her this specific draft pick. If I didn't hear that one thing about the whole season, I probably would have picked her a little bit earlier for full transparency, because I think she's very capable. I think she's very athletic, and she's someone I would love to see come back more often. So I hope that I'm wrong, because I don't know it to be true or false. I didn't go in and ask any more questions on that, because I don't really want to know. But I really hope that even if she does go early, that we get to see her at some point again in the future, and that they don't give up on someone like Michaela, because I think she could add a lot to the show in the future. And I'm really gutted not to have Jay on this season with her, because I would have loved to have seen that dynamic. And I know he was rumored to be on the show, and then he got pulled last minute. So I think that's a shame that happened. Chantal, Michaela, you dodged her a couple of times. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I think she's great. I think she's a great addition to the challenge. Somebody that I want to see them play a different social strategy, competitive reality game. Like I like seeing her. She's a great character, great personality. I do think she's physically fit and very capable of doing very well in this show. I'm just not sure she's going to do well this particular season, but I hope it's opened the door for her to come back again and again, especially if like all the Survivor people getting together, if like it's well received by the audience. Like I can see them bringing them back and start having them being the staple. Like, oh, these 5 Survivor players are always back, and then that's going to rival a bit the Big Brother people, and then the vets, and then got the Love Island crews. And so maybe they're trying to build like all these different groups of people that will come on and compete in further seasons. So I'm happy that she's made her entry point into the challenge. I hope she does better than we're anticipating her doing this season. But I feel like she would be back again.
I mean, the one person that everybody suggests and comments whenever somebody talked about like who would they want to see on the challenge from another show, and that was Michaela. Like Michaela was always like the number one person. So I would love to see her back on a season. Maybe let's get some Rivals 4 action here where her and Jay have to be partnered up, and let's do it. Like I would be so excited for that.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't seen Rivals in such a long time, and I'm like just I've never watched Rivals live. I went back to go watch all the Rivals seasons after starting with Final Reckoning, and now that I'm watching the show live, it would be so exciting to see some of these new rivalries that have formed. To see them actually play against each other. So I'm all for that, and we can find some really good rivalries in other reality shows as well that exist, that we can bring in that will just spice the game up, because I do feel like in the recent season, sometimes with the challenge, it's been too kumbaya with people just agreeing about everything, and it's like a consensus vote, and I feel like rivalries potentially could just bring a little bit of that heat into the show that we've sort of been lacking, I feel like, at times. All right, so I've got the last pick here. It's not a straightforward one, and whoever doesn't get drafted here will automatically become, similar to what we did in All Stars, the fill-in for whoever loses their first player. So you'll get a second chance if you lose an eliminated player in the first round. And the person I'm going to go for is Garbo. I'm going to take him off the table. I am a little bit worried for him. I tried to watch like frantically last night when I was trying to do my homework. I was looking at a couple of videos online, and I saw him in the gym flexing his muscles, being the real broy guy, going up to the girls in the gym and hitting on them and things like that. So I'm a bit worried about him, because I feel like he's the classic bro coming into this show. But who knows? He could fit into what the Young Bucks used to be. He could fall into that kind of genre. They were the broy guys when they first came on board to a certain degree. And the one thing probably that pips him for me slightly over Bettina is that he's got a really, really good physique. Like he's physically pretty fit. So, I don't know if he's going to be good athletically, like I said earlier in the show, like being really fit and having strong muscles and looking really fit and muscular doesn't necessarily mean you're good athletically. And I don't know how he's going to perform in that regard. But I do think he's going to be a character this season, if that makes sense, especially coming from something like Warsaw Shore, which would be their version of Jersey Shore, I'm assuming, over there. I think it's in Poland, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's going to be interesting to see. And the Polish people, knowing a couple of Polish friends myself from when I lived in the UK, they're bloody strong people. Like they just, you do not mess with the Polish, you know? So like, I feel like if you wanted someone to go up against a Fessy in a whole brawl this season, he'd be the guy you'd throw in there, and it could be exciting.
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I was thinking like I would not go for someone that was on a Jersey Shore, Geordie Shore, Warsaw Shore. I can't even say that. You know, type show, because usually they're characterizes people that are just like partying and sleeping with girls, and like that's just the type of show it was. I mean, I watched Jersey Shore, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know if I want my challenge competitor that I'm putting all my marbles on to be from those shows. But you did say he's super athletic, so that could bode well, as you mentioned, in some of these physical challenges. I just don't know, is he going to have great balance, or is he going to be able to do puzzles or all the other types of challenges? I don't know if he's going to be good at, but interested.
Yeah, I think
let's see what happens.
I think you and I watched the same exact clip. I put it in the video when I was talking about him in the rumor video. I know he works out, he likes to hit on women, and then he likes to eat. And that was like one of the clips. And he has one of my favorite lines in the trailer is when Nam is like talking to him, and he's like, oh, well, the challenge is so weird because you know you're going to be doing something. You just don't know when or what you're going to be doing. And then it turns to Nam, and he's just like, well, right now I'm eating. And that's all he cares about. I was just like, all right, cool. Yeah, that's a vibe. That's a vibe on night one. You just got a plate full of skewers, and you're like, I'm just chilling, man. Don't try to freak me out now.
That worries me that he doesn't have in mind for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be exciting. So I'm really excited, guys, to see what this season is going to bring to the table. You know, we've got a lot of new characters on the show. I love the fact personally that they're bringing in people from so many of these European countries. They've got 2 people from Africa, which I'm really excited about. Clearly, that's why I picked them in my team as well. And you know, they're throwing a lot of things to the wall here. So hopefully some of it sticks, and we get a very, very strong season. Ultimately, for those who've been in the live stream here with us today, we will be reacting to every single episode. We'll be doing our recaps at the same time at 8 p.m. Friday evenings every single week to talk about the episodes. I believe the first episode starts this Wednesday, but there is also a pre-season episode, I believe, that we're getting on the Monday here that will be similar to what we got in the previous season, where we get to see a little bit, and I really enjoyed that last season. We get to see a little bit more of the different characters, especially since there's 17 new people coming into the show. We're going to get to understand a little bit more of who they are, what they're about. Probably would have helped us coming into this draft pick, but it wouldn't have been as fun to make assumptions and then be proven wrong by the end of the year about these people. But we should get that coming in this Monday. So we'll react on that, and also the first episode together on Friday next week, which should be very exciting. Drew, you've done a lot of work here in the preseason for the challenge. What do you have coming up on the Angel Cake YouTube channel moving forward? Do you have any exciting things that you're working on behind the scenes, or is it predominantly going to be focusing on a shortened version of a recap for each of the episodes moving forward?
Well, every single week I'm going to be doing a review and recap coming out Thursdays after the episode airs on Wednesdays, and then also doing Fridays tiny table talks after every single episode. I have big plans for those, and then I just got big plans for videos in general. I want to do some bigger ideas, talking about like Kara's evolution. A lot of people like to say something about how she turned, like something about her, like her personality changed. And I wanted to go through every single season that she done to see where she began, where she ended, and where do people think that curve happened. Talking about, I did a big long journey for Leroy's legacy when he was retiring. I want to do the same thing for some of the vets that we're not going to be seeing on the main season anymore, but maybe seeing them on All-Stars at some point in their career, like Landon. I got a lot of people talking about Landon, Paula, Evelyn. I just want to do a lot of deep dive videos and putting them out there, and just doing a lot of those and a lot more other stuff, maybe like what happened to MTV. It used to be on the pinnacle and the jumping off point and the trailblazer for reality TV. And now it's just doing shows like ridiculousness, awesomeness, messiness, adorableness, any ness you can have, it's doing it. So it's like, what are we doing here? So that's the kind of things that are going through my brain heading into the challenge and then throughout the rest of this year.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, we'll be looking out for that for sure. And I'm very interested in the Carla video to see or the Cara video, I should say, Cara Maria video, because I think that it's been interesting seeing her sort of change again after she's left the show, because I've kind of kept up to date with where she is mentally at the moment. And I think being away from the show a couple of seasons has probably actually done her a favor as well. So very interested in that. Chantal, coming over to your end, on Reality of Realness with 3 S's. What are you doing currently? I believe Big Brother is going at the moment, and you're doing your own challenge.
What am I
content as
not
well.
doing? So this week is going to be, I believe, the final episode of The Bachelorette. So Tuesday at 8 p.m. we should be doing the conclusion episode of The Bachelorette. And then we're also daily at 2 p.m. Eastern. I do Love Island UK review by myself for an hour, and then at 3 p.m. with my co-host Tamika, we do Love Island USA. Then on Wednesdays after the challenge, we will be going live at around 10:30 Eastern to do, to do a breakdown of the episode. That's with Michelle and Fanta, who's been doing it with me for the last few seasons, and doing Big Brother every day, after every episode as well, live with my different co-hosts for that show. And on Saturday with Nerdtainment, we're doing Survivor South Africa, and then of course, here, I'm coming at 8 p.m. Eastern to talk to you guys about the challenge. I think I'm probably missing something. I think I want to bring like F-Boy Island into the mix, maybe. Like, I don't even know.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Things are starting to die down though, so I'm almost gonna be like have a little bit of freedom, a little bit of breathing.
Your schedule is absolutely insane. It's like a full-time job at this point, but you know, we're very grateful to have you here with us for the recap every week. On Reality Pop, we've got with myself covering Survivor South Africa later on today, and probably early hours in the morning over in the US. I will have a season 4 Survivor South Africa alum in as our special guest. We've been lucky enough to have special guests with previous players every week for Survivor South Africa. Harry Wiggins will be joining us to talk about the latest episode of Survivor South Africa. It had a very, very interesting twist with paired destinies, where different players were paired together for a whole cycle. I won't say what happened, but they were paired together for a whole cycle, which I haven't seen before in Survivor South Africa, Australia, or the US. Apparently, it's an idea that was stolen from Survivor France, I was told this week, by a French Survivor super fan. So we're going to be doing a recap on that, and we'll also be back to do Australian Survivor next week for week 4, I believe it is now that we're doing for Australian Survivor, Brains versus Brawns. That's three episodes a week that we have to recap. So keeping busy, similar to you guys with that. And then obviously still doing my full-time job outside of that. So, but it's been fun talking to you guys. This has been a record-long podcast, but we've got through it. We drafted 32 out of the 33 players. I'll make sure to do a little adjustment on Drew's team to make sure that he gets his final player in there as well, because I can probably remove the player that wasn't selected for now. And that way we'll have the teams ready to go for the next episode. Really looking forward to it, guys.
Perfect. Oh yeah. When you do that, will you just take a picture and send me the picture? I just want to have like the full picture just so I can refer to it sometimes and maybe make
same with me too. I just want to make sure Logan's pretty face is on there, though. I definitely want to see his on there.
100%. And the one thing we didn't mention is that we're aware that there may, like, we don't know who they are, but we're aware that there may be some medivacs this season. So the rule that we put in place prior to going live was that if somebody is going to be medivac, then whoever is going to replace them in the game will automatically become the pick for that player as well in the season. Because I believe Amber B, we saw her somewhere in the promo, she's coming in at some stage, so she might be replacing someone that gets injured at some point for one of us. And what a pick that would be. You know, I would love to end up with Amber B. I think she's a pretty big beast in the show, and whole nother podcast. But why don't they bring back 5 of the challenge female winners from one season to another season? Get really annoyed with that, but we'll talk about that next week, guys. It's been great having you in the live chat, and we'll be back next week to talk about the challenge season 37 episode 1. It's been fun, guys. Goodbye.
Ciao.